So we're gonna do this for real. All right. So as Tim would say, let's get things started with episode 124 of the Current Gen podcast. Hello, I am not Dad. Dad is dead. COVID killed him. He's gone forever.
Wait, Dad's dead? This is how you're telling me? Like,
but hold on. But we're gonna get the Dragon Balls, Kyle. So it'll be fine. We'll revive him. It's okay.
Oh, Jeff!
I know
literally just
exactly what that reference is. I know exactly what that is.
But obviously, I'm Dan. We have Kyle here. Hello, Kyle.
Hello.
And Jeffrey with his new beautiful camera. Look at Jeffrey and all his case. All of his case.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Jeffrey gets a new camera, and I bust my ass all week to set up a new background. We don't get to mention that. That's not.
Hold on.
Your new background is so good.
Well, yeah. So Jeff got a new camera. It looks nice.
Light it up a little bit. You can't really see much over here, but
Kyle has his beautiful. He's got a lot of Metal Gear stuff going on up top. Metal Gear.
I don't know how you get your stuff like so nice in the background. It's
I have I have a lamp like over here, and then I got all the lights. It's just a lot of lights.
I don't understand lighting. I have a lot of lights too. It's just not the right lighting. So
I think if you get like a lamp and kind of put it back there, like off to the side, so it's not in the shot, it'll beam off the wall. So
yeah.
And then that'll do something. That'll do stuff.
We'll figure it out.
It's
a work in progress. I got Final Fantasy X. People there.
Excellent.
Everybody like that. This is a really good for a podcast medium specifically. Yeah. Like look at my things, guys.
Yeah, and
all you
guys,
who are listening right now.
Yeah,
and the whole bit about his dog. We've had two visual
he's about to
bits.
run into his water. He's about to run into his water with the bed.
Yep. There you go.
He's such an idiot.
Dude, that dog's adorable. Like I don't even know.
He is.
He's adorable.
But not good for podcasting. That's.
No, I was gonna say I got the new iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's huge. It's like
nice.
Ginormous.
That is pretty big.
Got a nice case for it. So
we should talk about if we're iPhone guys or Android guys for the next hour. That's what we should do.
No, absolutely.
Can I be honest? That's the most boring conversation in the entire world to me.
Oh, dude, you want to talk about boring?
What do you mean you use that piece of technology?
Yeah, how dare you?
You want to talk about some boring conversation? So the Russo brothers are trending on, not trending, but went viral. Whatever. Okay. Film Twitter got wind of a quote that they said that movie theaters are expensive, and it's kind of elitist or whatever. The movie theater experience is a little elitist.
Okay.
And it's not this sacred thing. You can watch movies anywhere. I am just so tired of that entire topic. Like that entire movie going, like theater going is sacred. We got to protect the art / streaming is better. I couldn't care less. Just show me the movie.
Well, and I find it's really rich coming from the guys who hold the two most seen movies of all time.
Sure.
I'm just like, shut up.
It happened in the theater, so.
Yeah. And I like Russo brothers. I've liked them since Community. Shut up about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so tired of everybody talking.
Well,
like
and the other side, I
had to chime in. Yeah.
I don't want to hear anybody's take on this.
Yeah, just go see movies where you are physically and financially comfortable, and that's the end of the conversation. I don't really care about this whole like if I have to hear Martin Scorsese talk about cinema one more time, swear to God, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah,
that's not cinema. That's not cinema.
Well, what's funny is because you're saying it like the Russo brothers are putting it up on a pedestal, right? But it's like for years I've been going to movies and it's like I want to go less and less because there's more annoying people that just want to talk during the movie and just be rude and obnoxious.
I think there's no etiquette at all anymore, and there hasn't been even before COVID, and it's just gotten worse since then.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten worse.
It's not that elitist clearly because it's just a bunch of assholes that go in there.
I think there's something too. If they were a little more specific in their wording and talked about like families as large as Tim's, and because he has like 50 kids.
Right.
Yeah. He can literally never go to the movie theater because it would have to be like a whole paycheck worth of money.
Yeah.
The movie theater.
It does suck. Like, hey, I don't like spending $15-$16 a ticket. That's crazy to me. Like.
I like movie theaters fine. It's just go where you want. I don't care. Nobody should care.
Just watch movies.
If your local area offers the movie pass thing, not the literal movie pass thing, but like for your like a Cinemark,
similar,
like
Draft House,
do that. I feel like that's the most bang for your buck because if you're already going to spend $15 on one ticket, if you see one more movie a month, 2 movies a month, it already pays for itself and everything like that. And I think we're in a space now where there's at least a couple movies a month that you could at least want to watch if you like movies. So
if you don't like movies, what the hell?
I mean, I don't know.
Just what the hell?
Yeah.
My question is, if you don't like anime, what the hell? So Jeffrey,
if you don't like anime, then you might be a normal person. Congratulations.
I think you're really just more normal to watch anime now. Isn't that
you're putting yourself up on a pedestal, Jeff? Is what you're doing.
I feel like all kids like watch.
It's my pedestal. Of course, I'm putting myself on it. It's mine.
But anyways, so yeah, like I said, episode 124. Not too much to talk about. Really, I had to come up with the whole topic because Tim was gonna do a whole thing of what was it, best game of the generation or something like that. We're gonna do that next episode, I believe.
It's gonna get ugly, that one. So
yeah, oh, absolutely.
I was laid out this week. Now I had to like calm down before this podcast because it was really weird. I was like, oh, we're not gonna fight about that now. I gotta chill out.
I laid out a at least for myself. I put a top 20 together, so I know at least which ones to present.
Sure.
Yeah, forward. I definitely have the right list as well on my end.
Yeah, mine is 1,000% correct. My number 20 is like a generous one though. It's like that one, really.
You know. I mean, you didn't have to be generous. I mean,
yeah, that's why it's the wrong list. I get it.
No, it's totally correct. When I make my case for it, and it's not going to be in the top 10, but when I make my case for it, it'll be like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I'm glad you at least said that name. Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So I mean, Tim usually bounces around. I don't know what you guys want to do, but we can you know what, there's not too much going on in the now playing / watching. Well, I mean, there's a decent amount of watch stuff that we've watched, but let's get the playing out of the way. Jeff, what are you playing?
The only thing I've really touched this week, I diddled Kratos.
Did he say boy while you were diddling him?
Oh, several times.
Okay. Did he consent?
Of course. He doesn't really say yes or no ever.
He just yells Ares. Yeah. Ares.
He just yells that.
That was good. Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah. This is like my 4th time starting a playthrough on God of War, and I just love this game so much.
I feel kind of goofy, like playing the New Game Plus, and like you're going through the beginning of the game, and you already have like your super nice armor and stuff.
Yeah.
So like my next playthrough, I'm actually gonna just like not do a New Game Plus because it's really goofy to me, and I kind of want the experience of like getting all those things again. Like it doesn't make sense that you have the Chains of Chaos at the beginning of that game.
That one, I've yet to do a New Game Plus on that one. I've only done New Game Plus for the Spider-Man games because I knew I could platinum them if I did a New Game Plus. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Doesn't matter. I'll do it. But with that's Michael Caine saying yes to a movie part.
Okay.
Apparently.
All right. I was gonna say I don't get it.
I'll do it. So there. Right. With God of War though, there's something to the story. I don't know. It just feels like a heavier story when you start unlocking stuff like.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like Chaos Blades, like
the journey is unlocking certain like
pieces it's part of the story.
Literally the Chaos Blades. He's on the boat.
You start with them. Yeah,
he's rowing, and then the music's like kind of building up as he's going back to the hut.
That's like, dude.
Man,
we all know this is like one of the greatest games of all time.
Yes.
That's like a top 10 moment. Like if you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And like I hated God of War before this. Like I thought God of War 1, 2, and 3 was just a brotastic bro fest of brodom, and it's super. it's fun, you know.
It's fun.
It's super spectacle and stuff like that. But like my character action games kind of relied more on like Devil May Cry and stuff like that.
Right,
and I thought God of War was just like such a machismo weird game. But God of War, like the 2018 or whenever it came out, like that game is sublime and it's so mature, and like I respect the old games because like there's a growth of maturity in the series now, you know, and it actually plays into the story quite a bit as well, of the juxtaposition of him being like this crazy killer to now being like a father and a little more like hesitant to want to become that person. But even I, as like a casual fan of like the first 3 games, like knew what he was going back to get, like just deep down, like you didn't know, but you kind of knew that like he was about to go back the way he was, and like man, that meant, you know, those chains and those blades, and boy, when he pulls those bad boys out, and then like the game kind of feels like it did in 1, 2, and 3 when you're swinging those bad boys around.
Like it does, but it doesn't, right?
It does, but it doesn't.
Like because it's the new system, but it's like
it's a familiarity, but like it's still within the parameters of the new control scheme and stuff like that. Man, it's brilliant, dude. It's one of the best moments in video games ever, dude.
Oh, like, for sure. And the opening is. God, it's just one of my favorite openings to a video game ever. Like
Strange just shows up, and they start fighting it.
How it sets the scene. Well, how it sets quite literally his entire what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like just with him and Boy at the very beginning?
At the very beginning,
I like that too.
And then you fight it
just
like
chopping.
how the enemies kind of escalate. Like, I mean, depending on how much you explore, because if you explore a little more, you'll encounter wolves, and then obviously you get the troll fight, which is just amazing.
So good.
And he's got like a name and a lore behind him too and stuff. That's
they all
really
do.
cool.
They're all trolls from actual Norse mythology.
Right. That's so awesome.
Yeah. So
and then
which
of course
is funny
Baldur
because
shows up, and dude, it's so brilliant.
That's another thing that people complain about when it's just like, well, I don't like that you're fighting the same. Well, you're really not. Yeah, you're fighting a troll kind of over and over again, but every single one is a very specific one from mythology, and so there's a built-in reason for why you're fighting the same enemy.
That game's not short, and I feel like there's definitely a decent amount and variety of enemies. I mean,
there are, I agree.
Some are a bigger pain in the ass than others. That's for
like
sure.
the Valkyries.
The dragon.
The Valkyries, and then there's like the witch that
the dragon
can
fight
just
was
kill
so
you in like one
spectacle.
hit. I
mean,
mean,
that was another complaint I always heard was like it's just the big spectacle moments weren't there, and I was like, that's what that whole dragon moment was when you're like falling through the tower and like fighting that thing, like it's so epic, like it's crazy.
So good.
Well, the last boss fight, like
it's so good, and the gimmick of like it never cuts, like the camera, totally
makes it harder to stop playing.
How did they pull that off?
I know.
Sorcery.
Unbelievable.
How
do you make a sequel to that? How do you make it even more one take?
It's happening.
And they've held like the whole game's a secret, dude. Like we have
no clue.
It's got cities. And it's got a big wolf. That's about the extent of what we know about this game.
And I'm honestly fine with that.
Me too.
I don't want to know anything.
I'm no less hyped, and I can be no more hyped. So it's like no matter what you show me, it's a day one purchase. So
because at this point it's like we already know what to anticipate, but then like also there's like the mystery of like what they're gonna add. The only thing that would detract from that is like just things being broken, which like, I mean, we don't need trailers to, you know what I mean? Like if there's going to be issues in the game, it's just going to be there. So like, as far as just like having more trailers, it's like, you're just going to be showing more things that I'd rather be surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's also the case with a lot of games, to be honest. I'd rather just be surprised with a lot of them, but
same thing with movies. Like I remember when it took a minute for Thor: Love and Thunder to release a trailer, and I was like, I hope they never do. I genuinely hope they. And No Way Home, there was like a whole thing with where's the trailer for No Way Home. Yeah, I was like, you know what? Hope they never do it.
We're all going to see it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I do like.
They literally didn't show the biggest parts of No Way Home in any of the trailers, and people still showed up in droves on opening weekend because they knew you had a gut feeling. You just knew.
I mean, I like marketing for games. I like trailers. I like the lead up to hype and stuff like that. But just as much, I like the here's the thing, see you in 3 months, like the Fallout 4 style, like release schedule. Like that's just as exciting, like
true.
It's just you get the excitement all in just that 4-month period instead of like a 2-year one, and it's
every single game
you're gonna get it
that way.
You're gonna get the excitement regardless, and you're gonna get that moment where you get to be excited before the game comes out.
And then then you got the Insomniac way of revealing things 4 years, 5 years in advance, and you're like, dang it, we're not gonna get Wolverine until 2027, bro.
Sure.
What about Spider-Man 2 with Venom?
I think that's
Sandman Venom.
2023 is what
they say. Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep that, but
that's not sticking.
No.
Everything's coming out in 2023. I'm not falling for this again.
No more.
Never
it's
again.
Fine. They can take their time. It's fine. Please don't F up Venom. And then if Carnage shows up also, like that's gonna be batshit crazy.
I really wish you would stop hyping me up on this game, Dan. If Carnage shows up, I'm gonna lose it. If
and
Carnage
you get
shows
to
up.
Presumably play as 2 Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
I hope I hope there's so many cool team up moves.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was about to say. Like in in 7 Remake and Yuffie's DLC, they're introducing kind of those combo attacks, like the 2 characters doing like unique
I'm so into that.
Like all the acrobatic like aerial stuff that they could do.
Remember in Advent Children?
Now here's Gwen, and here's here's the whole
Spider
team
Gwen. Yeah, Spider Gwen. Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
That'd be so rad.
Dude, jizz in my pants. For real.
When the breeze rolls in energy.
When the Spider-Man rolls in. Jesus. Video games are great. All right, so Kyle.
That's the only game I'm playing. Kyle, go ahead and chat about.
Do you have anything specific?
I played Loopmancer for a very short time. Really like the art style. Really like it sounds like the AI is like spoken by I'm sorry, the voice acting is spoken by AI. because like everyone here is your mission. Like it's so weird, and
like
I don't know if you picked up on that too. And I thought it was just one guy, but I kept on meeting new people, and I'm like, are these AI voices? Like and what I mean is not like in-game AI.
Like Watch Dogs Legion did that, right? Didn't they kind of do something like that?
They did. Well, I think they had like just a few different voice actors, and they use voice modulators to like. Okay. I think this is like even the way it's read, it feels like whenever you type something into Google and you're like, Google, say this, you know. And it's I mean,
it could be something like that. I mean, if you listen to like TikTok voiceover narrations and stuff, it's like,
yeah.
That's a narrator now. Like, holy crap, dude.
So
AI is next level now.
That's weird, you know. But outside of that, like your mouse button and one button shoots, one button katanas. It's really cool. Like I really like the action a lot. You know, there's a lot of different ways to play the game at your pace. So it's like if you just want to do story, easy, normal, or hard. There's a lot of different options there. In terms of difficulty. So I really like the aesthetic, man. I'm all about cyberpunk stuff right now.
It's a good cyberpunk aesthetic. Yeah. And not to mention the voice acting sounding stilted. The dialogue does as well, and I assume it's because it's a Chinese game and they're quite literally.
It's written by an AI too.
That's what that could be, but it's like a Chinese game, and it's kind of similar to that Fist forged in Shadow Tort, whatever.
The bunny
game,
guy.
That Fist game, where like the dialogue is clearly written in China. And then they like run it through Google Translate, and then they have the American actors read the lines, and it doesn't hit as well, like at all.
Yeah,
like,
I punch my fist.
Remember like Heavy Rain, where a bunch of Eastern Europeans were trying to bust an accent. It feels kind of like that.
Jason.
Oh boy, that game is. Looking back on it, I love that game.
They've come a long way.
Yeah. That studio has come a long way.
Where is it? I'm right here.
God damn it.
We can see you.
Sorry, I'm talking to my camera. Sorry.
Stop talking to your camera. Talk to us. We're the humans.
It's got its own brain. I just wanted it to know. Lock on. There we go.
All right.
And I also got to play Star Wars: The Old Republic with a friend for the first time.
Follows me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, is it? Oh, look at it. Oh. Look at what he's doing.
I mean, do you need to move around? I mean, do you need to do that?
He walks away, and we get to like watch him like pee. Like that can really.
I have outmaneuvered a few times, and it's really funny.
Hovers behind him,
like a drone.
You were playing Coder, right?
I was just before I got on with my roommate for the first. He got a hand-me-down little laptop that can run it, which any laptop can run that game at this point. But
the
fun,
MMO,
man.
you mean, right?
Yeah. We started bounty hunter characters, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I think that game is just the best. You know,
yeah.
I wish that it wasn't so like in your face. Like you should subscribe. Hey, we'll like really treat you good if you subscribe for $15 a month. I'm like, no one's doing that anymore. You know, you cut that crap out. You know. But you could play the game easily without ever paying a dime or anything like that. But they always try and like hold stuff over your head, like, you can get races. You know, you want to be woke. You know, you can get more races if you just subscribe to us. You know, so it's like
I mean, if they're gonna be free to play, it makes sense that they're trying to sell you on.
Yeah.
Plus EA's attached to it,
which is fine,
right?
but I still think $15 is a lot. You know, like it's especially when you can get Disney Plus for like $6.99 or $7.99, whatever it is. You know, like $15 is so and I know inflation, yada yada. $15 isn't 15 anymore. You're lucky it's still that, but like no one really does that anymore. You know,
except for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, but they remember we found out they offer a 0 through 60 like free trial or whatever.
Yes.
So like there are ways to play that game for free. You know, and Final Fantasy 6 or 14 I would be mad at you too if you weren't like freaking killing it. You know, like. You have so many people ready to subscribe to you, so that's fine. But like KOTOR's not the most, or SWTOR, whatever. It's not the most played MMO these days. It's still very lively and alive, but like you're still asking for the same amount of money as you were at its peak. Which again, it's still popular enough where it's making money and stuff. They haven't shut down anything, you know. But server wise, shut it down. And so I just good for that game. I wish it'd be nice to be able to get to play that whole game without like lots of things being in your face all the time. Being, you can't come in this room. because you're not subscribed. Just everything.
Does it actually block you out of certain areas?
I mean, it's like if you go into a rest area, it's like you actually can't get rested XP. Which if you guys ever played an MMO, if you're in a safe area and you log off, if you're in a safe zone or in a safe in a rest XP zone, when you get on, you'll have banked XP, so you'll get like 2 times the XP.
Yeah, 14 does that too.
Yeah, every MMO does that.
Yeah.
In this, you have to subscribe to get those types of perks.
Okay.
So it's just weird stuff that like ultimately doesn't ruin the experience, but it's annoying.
But exactly.
Because it'll say it on screen. It's like you would get rested XP if you subscribe, and it's just like, oh man, I'm just trying to play a cool MMO. And you guys are totally breaking my immersion, and it's
immersion.
It's a little so EA predatory,
Oh yeah.
It's so bully EA guys,
Did you guys actually put down? I don't know if one of you put down. Yeah, Skate 4. Okay, well, we'll mention the Skate 4 thing later.
Anyways, I'm really enjoying my time with it. I love having an MMO in my life. I don't have time for one, but it just feels good to like get on into a communal experience, even though I want nothing to do with anybody online. It just feels nice.
Look at all these people. Stay away from me.
It's one of those things where I like doing things while you're doing your thing.
Sure.
And far enough away from me, and not talking to me.
if it does it well, like I don't know if Swotar is it Swotar? Swatter does it well, but like 14 does that super well. There's really not a lot of stuff that involves like you have to team up with people. So like
you don't have to team up with anybody at all in this game, and you don't have to grind side missions anymore. They made it so if you just want to play straight through your story missions, at no point do you hit a wall where it's like, well, it's a little tricky now. You got to go do some raids. You never have to do raids. You never have to do anything you don't want to if you're just trying to see like credits, if you will, or the end of your like class story, which I respect because there's a lot of stories. There's I think 8 classes, 8 stories, and every single one of them's different. Every single one's written awesomely. They're excellent. So
nice. Well, that sounds.
Play with me, guys. Hey, guys, play with me.
No. Kyle, you play 14 with me.
We'll make a deal. We'll trade off. Will you play 14?
Hey, 14's not going to harass you about signing up for anything. I don't think it will. I think it will. All right, cool. So, anything else at all between you two? No.
That's it for me.
I diddled Divinity Original Sin 2 a little bit more.
Cool.
So yeah, that game's pretty fun. It feels like such an old school like kind of.
Are you playing that with the wife, or are you playing it solo?
No, just by myself on the PC. Okay. Because that felt like I needed to play that on the PC. That felt very much like I need to.
I think it's probably a little more PC friendly. I know it's like really co-op friendly too. So
is it okay?
I think
I know it like right. A couple of windows will pop up and mention something about like kind of connecting with people. Like I was like, oh, that's interesting, but like I don't know.
And I think on the consoles it's like drop in. Maybe it's not drop in drop out. Because like I know Diablo it's really stat. Because I think it's too stat based for that. But like it's one of those things where like y'all are answering or replying to the questions together, and like you can kind of sabotage. Like speech wise, but I'm also maybe thinking of Pillar of Eternity also.
Sure. Because those they are so similar. So very similar. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's just really cool. It just gives me that old nostalgia PC gaming kind of vibe, and just feels very like Western RPG, and just a lot of things that you can just kind of go in there and just mess around with and talk. You walk by a certain person, and depending on your race or what you have on you, like different things happen, and like I got the so in the game there's like these collars that like weaken you or make it so you can't do certain things in the world, because you're basically a prisoner on a ship in the very beginning, and then you go to like Fort Joy, which is like the prison island, and then I did like some kind of quest where I was able to remove my collar, but they said if I do that, then the guards are going to be like, hey, no collar, no, okay, gonna put you down in the in the jail cells down in the whatchamacallit. So that's what happened. I literally walked by a guard. He's like, hey, what are you doing? So then my main character ended up in the down in the barrack. What the hell's the word I'm trying to think of? The jail cells.
Yeah, it's the slammer.
The slammer, yeah. The slammer. But the rest of my party wasn't. So it was actually kind of fun. I almost created this like scenario where I had to bust myself out.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to I basically took the rest of my party, and I did some fights to level up, because I was like, all right, how the hell am I going to get out of here? I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized, oh, lockpicking, I can lockpick it, but I had to like level up the rest of my party so I could level up my main character so he could learn lockpicking. And then I lockpicked my way out of there. So
that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. So that was really cool. So basically then like I busted out, but then like there were some guards there. So like my main character was like, it was just me versus like 3 dudes. So then I took my other characters and I, kind of went down there and they kind of like converged and the whole party was back together. So then like, yeah, it was just really cool. It's just a really cool game.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much the only main thing I'm still playing a little bit of the Sakuna Rise of Ruin. I'm not totally loving that, unfortunately. Which is a bummer. I was really like anticipating that for a couple of years there because it came out like 2-3 years ago, I think. And it's not as fun as I thought it was. Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer, but not too much going on. I've been just watching more anime. I rewatched Dragon Ball Super a little while ago, Kyle. So whenever you do that. And I'm catching up on Demon Slayer because I hadn't finished the second season.
I haven't finished it either. Yeah, I haven't finished the second season either. I'm only up to the movie, so I know that's like half the second season, but I haven't seen the latter half.
Yeah, I just watched so I finished. I rewatched. So actually, if you watch the episode versions of it, Kyle, there's like they tweaked a little bit. They added like a couple extra things here and there. So a little different from the movie. Still made me emotional, dude. Like I was like, I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen, and then it happened. And I was just like, dude, just tears. Like it's like
I really like it when they introduce like super awesome new characters, And the character they introduce in the movie and in that first part is just like super 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 memorable. So
yeah, very much so. Yeah, that's a great show. For sure.
It's super good. Yeah, it's some of the best animation that you're getting on TV right now,
Yeah.
I think about the first season when Lightning Boy like is killing all those like spider girls and like the way that it like zooms out and it's like one of the best animated scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. And,
it's insane.
It was like one of those stand up and cheer moments, much like when Goku Ultra Instinct like Kamehameha skips off of like Khalifa's like beam and then like point blank there's some and those happened in the same year if I'm not mistaken, and I was like this is like one of the best years of anime ever. Like it was super cool. But
that Kamehameha was bananas, dude. Like how did she not just incinerate? Like that was just absurd.
How do you know he's not gonna kill her?
I know. Anyways, he knows what he's doing. And then just to get real quick, because I guess technically we're in the watching section here. Just get it out of the way. Kyle, I don't know if you've heard of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation.
No.
Does that sound familiar?
No, not even kinda.
Jeff, can you say that back to me?
What a horrible title. Are you
kidding me? Mushoku Tensei is obviously the Japanese part, and then Jobless Reincarnation.
Jobless? Like unemployed?
So
those are just random words thrown together.
No, hold on. So the main premise is basically, so it's like the real world. There's this Asian kid. I think he's like maybe 17, 18. He gets he gets bullied. Amnesia. He gets bullied severely to the point where he basically just stays at home. And his parents like try to go like, whatever, do legal action or so on and so forth.
Legal stuff.
Spoiler alert.
Doing legal stuff.
He kills himself.
Whoa.
He is reincarnated as a child, literally birthed out of a new woman in a fantasy world.
Okay.
So he basically is reborn in a whole other world, in this fantasy world where there's like magic and just, goblins and so on and so forth.
It's reverse folklore. Like instead of a girl, it's a boy, right? Like it's like, but maybe not the dying and being born into another womb, but it's that style, whatever that anime like trope is, where it's like someone sucked in from the real world into world. Yeah. But he like has still his like memory, like he basically internally, the internal monologue is him like as the 18-year-old. So like when he's like kind of describing things, it's him like this, not as like a baby or a child, it's him as like, he's real world stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting concept. The animation is, and the reason why I wanted to mention it, Kyle, because I know you appreciate good animation and just fun fight scenes. The fight scenes in that anime is just completely out of this world. Fantastic. So some of the best animation on top of, very different from Demon Slayer, but it's superb. It's superb.
Nice.
Yeah, I would just YouTube maybe jobless reincarnation fight scene just to kind of get the gist. If you're like, oh, maybe I will watch this. I know you don't tend to watch newer animes, right?
It's a harder sell for me, but
sure.
we're in a renaissance right now, so I think there's a lot of really good stuff right now.
Yeah.
That I haven't gotten to.
I think that one's worth watching. It's not.
Attack on Titan's next for me. Like I'm 1 season behind right now. So,
okay. Yeah. Fantastic, by the way. Yes.
It's just wild, dude. Yeah.
It is bleak.
Yeah.
It is bleak.
I feel like every time you get more of the story, you're just like, boy, I would just tell someone to shoot me if I lived in this world.
Yeah, it's
every time you get down to the bottom of something, you're like, oh, this got more depraved and inhumane and messed up, you know?
Yeah, it's just like it's so heavy and it just feels like the weight is just you're crushing down.
It's hard. I wish that was when I was watching week to week, because like binging that one's super hard for me because it's just a lot. It's a lot to sit down like a big chunk. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's what I've been watching. So what have you? I see several things here. Well, aside from the Bill Burr, but we can discuss that as a group.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Bill Burr.
Don.
Bill Burr. That's my terrible Bill Burr impression. Intentionally terrible Bill Burr. And he did that a few times. He's like, hey, I did this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing this, right?
You're an animal.
Just finished. Well, I guess the show just finished airing. It's whatever. The finale aired. God, that was a long way to say that. Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Wrapped up.
It finished.
And maybe I listened to the internet's pre-hate a little too much and bought into it because my expectations were rather low for the show.
Okay.
I just thought it was going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like fun maybe. It really exceeded my expectations, I'll be honest, like by a lot. I think Iman Vellani, I think, is the name of the lead actress. Yeah. And that's just like some of the most perfect casting Marvel's ever done.
Really
like
she seems fantastic. I've seen her like in a couple like late night show like interviews, and she just seems like so like bubbly and like just a really like
she's super
big personality.
into all this stuff. Like,
she's a mega
Marvel.
fan.
It's funny because that's the character she's playing in the show too. Is a super fan. So it's like she did not have to reach far for this, you know.
Right.
I think we brought it up before when the show started how similar the beginning of this the show is to the game. Where it's like she's getting ready to go to this big convention where they celebrate the Avengers, and of course none of the Avengers are there. They're busy doing hero stuff. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
And they're all going through their own PTSD
same
nightmare, not helping each other with anything. That's what everyone's doing right now.
Also, It's not part of the actor's contract. So.
Yeah, exactly. Captain America's still sitting on that bench to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Steve Rogers, not you know who I meant.
Right.
Anyway,
He's
old
on the
guy.
Moon.
Yeah. That would have been by the way, that would have been a really funny punctuation if like he gave the shield to Sam, and then he's like, "All right, see you later," and then he just flies off. And you're like, "What the hell?" He got the ability to fly, or like he just does something completely out of left field. Anyway. Sorry, I don't know why I thought of that. But yeah, that's amazing casting. Like maybe not Robert Downey Jr., where he kind of defined the role of Tony Stark, at least from a personality perspective outside the comics. Like just redefine that role, not to that degree, but like good in a sense where you can't imagine anybody else playing this role. Like you can't imagine, well, unfortunately. Can't really imagine anybody else playing Black Panther. I hope somebody does someday.
Sure. I mean, multiverse, dude. I mean, it's like, just rife with.
You can't imagine anybody else playing Wolverine. Like it's Hugh Jackman, you know.
Hugh Jackman.
Again, that's going to be recast.
Jacked man.
Jacked man. So I mean, it's like that where like she just fits the freaking role so well, and she brings so much charisma and humor, and it's effortless. She's just a natural. She reminds me of Haley Steinfeld so much, and I can't wait for them to share the screen together.
Can't wait till all these crazy kids are just
like clearly a focus on the younger folks.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, for sure. So the story, I think people were mad from the trailers of her powers origin.
Right.
Where she finds a bangle That's what it's called. It's a bracelet.
Yeah. Wait, you mean she's not an Inhuman, Jeff? Where she's just like a, like just powerful because?
Whoa. Did you say Inhuman? That's crazy word.
So they kind of, man, there's a whole evolution around her abilities and how they're, whatever. I'm not going to dive too far into it, but just know that if you wait all the way to the end of the show,
it's an arc, guys.
They flesh that out. Yeah, it's not just
no way.
Like it's like a TV show. You know?
No way.
It's not just a regular person finds a thing that turns them into a superhero. It's not just that.
Sure.
There's a lot more going on.
Yeah, I got a way to kind of explain it. Like throughout the show, she's slowly getting pieces of her like outfit until you finally get to see the outfit, which is pretty cool. So like, and every little piece kind of means something or is given to someone from something, and it's really well done. Her powers are the same way. It's an evolutionary, like you're picking up things along the way and stuff like that.
And so then there's like a big thing at the end that you're like,
yeah,
this is gonna be cool.
It's like 2 or 3 big things at the end.
Oh, dude, yeah. I also love the finale being like kind of similar to, well, Moon Knight did have kind of a big fight a little bit. But there are some things that like avoid the big fight. Like Loki avoided the big fight. They just had a big
They had a big conversation.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And there is a big fight in the finale, but it's who she's fighting. Like you felt like in week 5, whenever the penultimate episode was, you feel like, oh, it's leading to these two fighting each other at the end, and then that's not what happens. And I found that to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That's the thing about the show. I feel like they're like kind of like constantly diverting my expectations in certain ways. Where I feel like it's going to be a teeny bopper high school thing where she has crushes on so many guys,
and it starts that way. It's so telegraphed that it's going to be that way, and then it abandons all of that. Yeah, that abandons like in a Whiplash way, but it's like, no, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just letting you know that before all this, she was a kid, and then this thing happened to her. And,
and her priorities changed. Yeah,
exactly,
as it should when you become a hero, I guess. In these shows.
Yeah.
So and there's a lot of cultural stuff and historical stuff pertaining that to the culture, like Muslim culture, Pakistani, Indian culture, like the partition.
That's why they went with the Bengals, right? Don't they actually represent like something?
Yeah, there's a whole the villainous entities, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
There's a whole like explanation from them about what the Bengals are. Who they belong to. I did that air quote so you can't see it on YouTube. Sorry, or on the podcast.
Please join us on YouTube.
But I did love all the cultural nuggets and how it tied to the larger story that they were telling. I thought that was really cool. And again, ignorant white guy here. It's much like Moon Knight, where they're educating me on like Egyptian stuff in that show that I had no clue about. It's the same thing for this.
Yeah.
So I liked it from many angles, really. Like I thought the action was cool. Like there weren't like weird moments with the CG or something. I don't know. This just felt really high budget for some reason. Whereas the movies kind of feel, I don't know, they're just not as good looking as they used to be. Whereas the TV shows are looking real good right now. Like Moon Knight looked awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because
not that movies like Thor, Love and Thunder look bad. It's just there's a noticeable.
Well, I'm wondering if it's more
about
the perception of it being a TV show. So, like in your head, you're like, all right, well, this is a TV show. Wow, this looks really good for a TV show.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
And they're spreading the budget out. It's kind of thinning out because they're also putting it into shows. So
maybe it's also a little bit of artistic liberties too, because maybe the TV show directors, whatever you want to call them, showrunners, have more stylistic say, I guess. How the show looks, like what colors they use.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a lot of style in this show too. There's a lot of camera tricks that make you go, whoa, I don't think I've seen that in a Marvel show before.
Sure.
Or there's texting. The way they show text messages on the screen is very Scott Pilgrim and very clever. Where it's like they're walking to somebody receiving a text is behind a restaurant or in front of a restaurant, and behind them is where the text message is in the neon sign that says like open or something. It changes the word to reflect the text message he got. And I thought that stuff like that is really clever. So yeah, there's like maybe Marvel or Disney has like a longer whatever you call it, leash. I walk a dog. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe they give them a longer leash. Like you still have to do your Marvel stuff, but you can make it colorful if you want.
Yeah.
give it a visual identity of sorts. Whereas the movies, I feel like Feige's got so much. Not that he's not letting directors do what they want. But
there's like kind of like a
I feel like he reins them in a little more with the movies because
there's a specific
millions of dollars
there, yeah
and he doesn't want to break the formula, whereas the TV shows have your fun.
I mean, although it might need to be breaking the formula because I mean they're still making money, but I mean
and they're still kind of sometimes the directors are stepping out of the box and stuff, and that's cool when that happens. But
these haven't been reviewing super well, except for Spider-Man's the only one.
Yeah, No Way Home was like huge. It was a huge deal. Doctor Strange 2, and so I guess they did
pretty
review
divisive.
fine. They reviewed okay.
Yeah,
they weren't bad. They were like okay.
Sevens, swimming in sevens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they've been getting for the most part. Yeah.
And I can't say I disagree completely. I know there's differing feelings on this panel, but that's okay.
No, not really. I just think I like more than you, but would still not consider these like top 10, movies.
Sure, gotcha.
Sure.
So maybe I don't know. Last year just feels like a better year for Marvel in terms of movies combined with TVs, like TV show. Like the TV shows were obviously insanely next level. Like even Falcon Winter Soldier had the very cinematic MCU action stuff with the first episode. That helicopter sequence is just insane. But last year's movies were just like consistently good. Like Shang-Chi, whatever, is just so good. Like I don't think anybody expected that. From that character, because we didn't know a lot about the character. But and then Black Widow, I still argue looks good. Like on a visual level,
it's a fun movie to watch. But
there's like cool cinematic moments in it.
Sure.
Like how shots are framed and stuff. And I just love the arc of the family. Like the interplay is just so fun.
Family.
And then of course No Way Home. So I mean, they kind of destroyed last year, and this year's feels like a
And
then we got the Black Panther 2 coming next, and I think that's the last movie. I don't know, man. I don't know about that one.
They've been like
it's a mess, dude.
They've been saying it's a mess behind the scenes.
That movie's a mess. Like it's gonna be a mess. It's going to be a Frankenstein monster of ideas. And now they're talking about, like, we're going to introduce Ironheart in this movie. I'm like, that's too much. That's too much.
Too much and Namor?
You can't,
oh, my God.
Are you going to Spider-Man her where she just shows up in, like, a suit already? I don't want that,
she's from Wakanda, right? So, is that what the story is?
I don't remember. I thought she was American.
I thought she was American, and she was, like, a smart
MIT I guess maybe that's what they're going to say. They're going to say maybe she's from Wakanda, and she likes technology and was inspired by Tony Stark.
I don't think so. I think she's going to be... Because Wakanda started doing outreach at the end of the first solo movie.
Yeah.
So maybe she might be part of that, or like she, connects with them through like an internship.
And inspired by Tony Stark and his genius.
Right. Yeah. Because like that's who she's a big Tony Stark fan, But like we already got one of those with Spider-Man, but like it's maybe they're gonna do something to distance her.
You know where they've kind of dropped the ball with Spider-Man a little bit is like Spider-Man is supposed to be super brainy, and they kind of only really portrayed that I think with Tom Holland Spider-Man in this third movie. There's a scene where they're in a lab room and they're doing some stuff.
Oh yeah, he was doing a lot of genius level stuff.
Yeah, like sciencey stuff, right? But like before, we haven't really gotten a lot of that out of Tom Holland. Like, and that's kind of part of Spider-Man. He
does it a lot more in Homecoming and Far From Home.
Sure.
I don't know. Far
From Home he makes a suit, but it's really like a app.
It's really Tony's stuff
that made it. Yeah.
Right.
So
that's what
whereas the end of, the final fight in Homecoming is him without Tony Stark's suit.
Right.
So he's like in the science room making the webbings. He I don't know. I just remember certain scenes where he's having to make web in between certain, like when the teacher's walking away or whatever.
He's helping the certain people that show up, like making things for them. And so like to me, it's like the most sciencey portrayal of Tom Holland's Peter Parker / Spider-Man. And that's kind of
they set up that he's his own man by the end of the third movie too. That he's I'm gonna start making my own suits and my own stuff. So which was
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I agree that the third one really sets up that he's getting.
It sets up the traditional Spider-Man that Tobey Maguire was when he first started. Really, the solo running it solo.
Remember, he's still supposed to be 18, So
exactly.
He
should
just
be
now
done
graduated
with
school.
Yeah, he should be done with high school finally, and delivering pizzas. For Mr. whatever his name is.
From
Spider-Man. constantly being nagged about
rent.
You pay rent?
Yeah, rent.
Oh man.
So I think
Those memes are
introducing
great.
Ironheart could work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's too busy, dude. Like there's too much stuff going on in that movie because they have to explain why Chadwick Boseman died. They have to kind of create someone else who's now leading Wakanda. They have to have a Shuri story. I know M'Baku is coming back and he has a big story. Like Martin Freeman's in it, so he's gonna have to show up. It's too much stuff going on, and now you're having to introduce this new character to set up her own show. She's about to get her own show, man. Just let this Wakanda shit breathe because like there's a lot of stuff to clear up here.
Didn't they just announce like who the villain would be or something in Ironheart? Like somebody got announced for casting, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I don't know.
I think so. No, there are a lot of Ironheart news did come out, and I forget who got cast, but I know what you're talking about. I think
it's one of the next things to be shot.
Well, and then there's still like rumors that
Namor, right?
I heard that Namor is going to be in Black Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So you know, like now you're introducing Namor and Atlantis. Like that's
Atlantis,
a lot of things to like introduce.
Dude, Atlantis is. There's a lot to unpack there, and
now you're gonna
them
throw
kind
in, like,
of being
Tony
like
Stark
a.
Role. Like I can't.
Oh man, I'm kind of like painting the movie in my head already, like where. I could see a story being like, you know, Atlantis is Wakanda from Black Panther 1, where Atlantis is cut off from the world.
Sure.
Thinks they don't deserve their resources and help and stuff. And then you have Wakanda come in and like show them a different way and how, you know, they can influence the world, yada, yada. But there's going to be that butting heads and stuff.
In the comics, they're at war constantly. They're bitter enemies. They're bitter.
Yeah.
Enemies, so.
I thought Atlantis was just at war with everybody because Namor hates.
You're right, but like because I think they're right next to each other. Like Wakanda, like they war a lot. But yes, Namor traditionally just hates everybody. Like that's he's like a total heel.
Everybody
like,
shows up for anything.
I don't like you. You're not me. So I'm not a huge fan.
Well, it's funny too in the MCU because there was just kind of like the Easter egg drop. Like it was mentioned, I think, in the first Black Panther, but like they didn't really.
I thought you were going to say Endgame. They mentioned.
They mentioned Endgame. Was it Endgame?
They mentioned like a fissure.
Yeah.
They mentioned earthquakes happening underground, underwater.
Right,
And Black Widow just goes, well, it's happening underwater, so we address it by not addressing it. Like,
Koya says that. She's like, well, we handle it by not handling it.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah,
so it's like she knew like what was being caused. It was like we just leave that alone.
Okay.
There's probably a history
insinuating that they know that
there's probably a mythology there where like our ancestors passed down to us stories of sea monsters and we got to stay away from them. But really, it's just a whole tribe of people they didn't know about or something. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
There's a good movie in there somewhere.
There could be.
I've been following all the backstage drama and it's not great.
And there's a power vacuum in Wakanda, and I would be there. There could be an intriguing thing there.
Internal
I don't know that they're going to Game of Thrones it or anything, but
Shuri
you
gets
have
killed
many
off
tribes,
like Act 1,
and you have have like 5 freaking tribes that are also have a claim to the throne. So. There could be an interesting movie in there. There could be. It's just we've heard way too much.
Killmonger variant shows up, and he's actually a good guy, but he's in the Black Panther. Yeah, but he's the good guy in that.
But it's actually a Skrull, so
And he's actually a Skrull, and he's from another dimension, so he's like 2 things in one.
Wouldn't it be funny if they pulled a fast one on us and they totally just CG Chadwick Boseman? He's actually in the movie, and
he's like. Hi guys.
I would be like, boy, this is really tasteless. But
people would be so mad, so
tasteless, so tasteless. I would definitely have to eat edible before I would see something like that. Like that way, I'd be like, I can't believe they did this the whole time.
I can't believe he's here.
Crazy sons of bitches did it.
Dude, Jeff actually thinks it's actually him. Like,
Chadwick.
This is terrible.
Oh man,
crying like in the audience.
Sorry. So yeah, Ms. Marvel's definitely recommend for me. I think Kyle, you didn't dislike it, but
no, I like it quite. In fact, I have a lot more good things to say about it than bad things. I just it's not my flavor of TV shows. You know what I mean? Like I like Loki, like that's like this otherworldly. I feel like it was pushing things forward, like really, I guess what I'm kind of sick of like solo stories in the MCU right now. Maybe I'm feeling a little
connected, right?
Maybe I'm feeling a little fatigued by the last Black Connect. Which I'm usually not the guy who's like, why is this not connecting, but like for some reason I feel like that old
I know what you mean
guy right now.
You know, the very first movie, Iron Man, has a post-credit scene with Nick Fury in it, so I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
It's been like that since the beginning.
We've gotten IGN did the math. We've gotten like the most hours of MCU movies.
Yeah.
Like in 2 years, and none of them really feel like they are connected, but just not in ways that are apparent.
So like even like the end of
why
Shang-Chi,
is it not apparent? Like it's
even at the end of Shang-Chi, like people show up and everyone's just like, this is weird, and everyone's like, yeah, it's weird. And I'm not even trying to dance around spoilers. That's literally how the scene went. Everyone's like, well, I'm gonna go check it out over here then, and like leaves the holo call. I'm like, well, I guess we'll stay down here and be confused about it. Leaves the holo. Like it's really, and I'm like, it's really cool to see everybody in the room together, but I don't really know what that scene was about.
Right, but Loki's the show is the only thing that's really been like, all right, so this is potentially what the big bad is.
Sure,
but like that's it.
That was a year and a half ago, and we still haven't.
Yeah, right. And that villain is showing up, not showing up till like Ant-Man. So the Ant-Man, the third one, he's the villain. Really he's like the main villain in that. And swear to God, Feige, don't kill him off in the first movie.
Or one of them anyways, right?
If you screw King the Conqueror up, I'm gonna be so mad.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm so upset.
There's multiple of them, so you can, you
play
that
but
card.
Like I just, it just feels safe. It just feels safe.
I know.
I think that Shang-Chi scene you were talking about does tie into Ms. Marvel, and in a previous, I don't think that's a spoiler.
And I feel like it ties into Eternals,
because Shang-Chi has the rings, right? Like it's in the trailers. You guys see if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what the rings are.
It's literally called Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings.
And they are literal rings, not
Yes.
Whatever, metaphorical, whatever. They're literal rings. So like I feel like those objects and Miss Marvel's bangle are connected.
Oh, for sure. I know, and there's lots of imagery.
And that's gonna play into this
Marvel.
the Captain Marvel sequel. Yeah.
I think it has to do with some of the stuff we saw in Eternals too, like some of the technology or some of the alien. Yeah. You know what I mean? It might be like celestial.
We can't, guys. We can't interfere with the Earth. Okay, just let me give them this super crazy computer real quick.
Yeah, right. Let me create the atom bomb for them.
That's
my least favorite part. I was just like, what?
I don't think
about Oppenheimer. You were Oppenheimer? Like I don't what? Like that one. Really
so they were the big. What do you call the things from 2001? The
monoliths,
whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like the Eternals, literal people are like the gift that causes the next phase of evolution, and they say they're not supposed to interfere. Like it just.
But that's all they do is interfere.
That's literally all they do. That's their existence.
They sit around and interfere for thousands of years. Is all they do, And it's like, and they only say we don't interfere just so they didn't have to like show up to fight Thanos. That's like literally the only reason they keep saying that. Well, that's why they couldn't be here because they don't interfere. And I'm like, but you literally gave ancient technologies to the Sumerians. Like we just watched you do it. Like. Well, when that, and then like every time they interfere, like that
they didn't know how to swim yet.
That civilization completely falls every time they like
every
interfere.
Time.
So it's which like that's
like
not
the only
spoiler,
one that had the right idea about what the Eternals were doing was Druig, and everybody
who's painted
as
the bad guy, and he's painted as the bad guy in the trailers and in the movie, and he's like the only sane person.
He's the only sane person going, wait, why are we messing with these people? Like,
yeah.
We keep wrecking it. Yeah, like we need to stop this.
That movie's weird.
Man. Yeah, that movie is an odd duck, but I still think of it fondly when I think back on it.
It's a hella superhero movie. There's a lot of eye beams and flying,
and there's some great visuals, like great cinematography. Like they shot it legitimately outside. Like you can tell it's real.
Wasn't huge on Selma Hayek falling into a pit even though she can fly and being like, I don't know how to get out of here, and then dying. Like that was pretty weird to me, but
I don't know.
Super weird. Yeah.
What do I do?
There's some real weird plot armor going on in that, and we're just like, you know what? She doesn't have powers for this scene.
And then Icarus doing. I'm sorry if this is spoilers for Eternals, but
if
you hadn't seen it yet, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
But Icarus literally fulfilling his own freaking stupid metaphor story, which is, I mean, it's a good metaphor story, but it's just stupid in the context that his name is Icarus, and he's just like, oh, oops, Well, I'm gonna go over here and get a tan real quick in the sun.
Super tanned.
For real, bro? Oh my god, that was so silly.
Can I just say with Icarus too? I don't know if it's that actor, because I don't know if I've seen him in other things, but like
other than
that's Rob
freaking personality of a paper bag. Like, for God's sakes, like that character is so obnoxiously.
Actually, once they kind of he revealed his side.
Well, sure.
I was like, I'm into this. Like, I'm into this
really
side of the actor.
But
like before that, it's like, Jesus.
I was
like, it's supposed to be robotic, but he was doing it the most.
Like,
you're right, because they're all supposed to be kind of like
hello. Who are you?
He's doing it the hardest for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very noticeable that
even hundreds of years later.
11,
yeah.
Everybody else kind of got comfortable, and you're still like, I am Icarus.
Yeah.
The person that made the most of it was
human cyborg relations.
Was clearly Kumail. Kumail's character.
He was fun.
Kango, whatever. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. It's the only person that like had any sense when they broke up. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go be a human then. Like, it's everybody else is boring as hell.
Well, and I like that too, where he's like, I'm not choosing sides because y'all are crazy. Like, also with Kumail, and it's gonna get a little gay in here. Sorry guys, but like that guy worked out big time.
Yeah.
To look hella sexy for this movie, and got to show his arms only, pretty much. You know, like they never had like Chris Hemsworth style gratuitous like shirt off scenes for long periods of time for him, and
they want them all to be fit.
Yeah,
you know what? Shame on you guys.
They all got to be fit.
Yeah.
They all got to be.
Everyone should get their shirt off scene. You know, like he didn't work for a year to like just have his gun showed off for a couple times.
Especially the ladies.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Right, guys?
Am I right? That's not pervy at all. Man, that was our Marvel rant of the. This is going to definitely be a clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
Lord.
Clip it, Tim.
We did not mean to go that long about Marvel, but it is very interesting where they are right now.
It's a slow
very interesting.
Yeah, I really just want them to just like blow their load and just like show us like the actual like big, like get to the big bad thing and like kill off whoever you're gonna kill off, and let's get things moving. Like Jeff's camera. Let's get things moving.
Let's get things moving.
I was like, I don't need the next big team up movie like right away. I just need you to start showing me
direction.
What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
I only saw the first episode. We can get Resident Evil out of the way, unless you guys have seen more. I only seen the first episode.
Same here.
I still haven't gotten around to it.
Okay. So Kyle hated the first episode.
I did not hate the first episode. I disliked a lot of it.
Kyle hates teens.
I do not like kids. Yeah, y'all. That must be like a big character trait about me, because man, I just in everything. If you put kids in, I'm like totally checked out. So.
Yeah, there's a recent movie especially.
Yeah, there's a particular scene in a movie that like, oh man, I don't want to talk about it. It's gonna make me mad.
Okay.
It's gonna make me mad.
Because I like this movie, and that scene is horrible. But go ahead, Dan. Yes. I'll add on this stuff as you.
Yeah, I've only just it's just the first episode. I didn't totally hate it. I'm digging the vibe of like there's a mystery, and it's kind of like what's going on here. There's a new Raccoon City. Because obviously, things happened in previous Raccoon City.
Which they allude to. Like there's a situation in Tijuana, and they're like, is it happening again?
Right.
And like
again,
I imagine is Raccoon City. No, I don't think anyone has said that word yet, like the incident of Raccoon City in 1996 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think I remember reading something where an interview where it's like, what you know about the games, like keep that stuff in mind.
Sure.
Because it may have not all happened in the canon of this show, but like it did at the same, and it was really nebulous how they explained it, but like just kind of bring that baggage in with you, like that lore from the games, and like here we are.
Because what actually did kind of come to a consensus that this is the thing that pays most attention to the game lore that's come out.
Yeah, and it gets to tell its own story at the same time.
It is pretty abstract or obscure.
What makes this unique is it 12 or 14 years in the future?
From 2022, it's 14. I think it's playing place in 2036 because they had a whole thing at the beginning where like it's going to end in 2036, but really that is a long time ago.
So it takes place over a decade later. So like main character is older, and there's like it basically bounces back and forth with the main character being an adult, and then her and her young sister going to New Raccoon City with Albert Wesker
before the fall. With
the
Albert
flashback
Wesker,
scenes sound terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, so
young kids. Oh no!
So basically, it's like, oh, they get dragged into New Raccoon City, and it's a new life, and one of them didn't want to move, and the other one's nonchalant about it, and the one that didn't want to move is angsty, and the other one is like kind of submissive and just like kind of lets people push her around, so that sort of thing. There's some bullying stuff, like you've seen this thing before.
I had enough of this in Miss Marvel. You know what I mean? So I already got my fill of like teeny bopper crap, for the year. So,
and then at the end of the episode, like, somebody does something really stupid and opens a container that clearly, like, there's just clearly something about it that it should not be opened, right? Like,
and can I just say, like, Resident Evil is a really, and I'm not, this is like this is not really a spoiler, all right, but like, Resident Evil has a lot of really clever ways of like the whole setup of how like the zombie outbreak happened in the first game is super clever. You know what I mean? It's unlike a templated movie setup where Jeff, have you seen this movie before? Animal activist wants to go into a lab that's testing on animals, releases animals, starts a zombie apocalypse. Does that sound like a movie you've seen before?
Maybe.
Really? Are you
really?
No, I don't know.
It's out. That's the story of Outbreak. That a very famous movie. Yes, with Dustin Hoffman, super famous. You guys. It is the beginning of 28 Days Later, a very famous movie, guys.
Well,
you have both seen this movie, and you're railroading me about my point right now. But...
no. Yeah, I was. The only thing that came to mind was Planet of the Apes, but technically the apes did that themselves, so I don't know. They figured it out.
28 Days Later, it's super famous, guys. I'm sure you guys have seen it.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Anyways, railroading aside, it's just uninventive for something that comes from a series that's super inventive, with really tall tale. Someone gets thrown in a volcano in the series, and instead they plucked out a super tropey. Sure. Like this is how every zombie movie you've almost ever seen ever starts. Here you go. And I just thought that it was lazy. But all the stuff in the future is kind of interesting. I've enjoyed that. There's a giant caterpillar, really good CG.
Yeah, that's some wacky.
Ooh,
shit
good
right
CG.
there. That's some wacky shit.
Really good CG.
And the way it picks her up and like slams her in the car, like that looked really good, right? That
good.
particular shot, like the way it kind of
great,
like it just looked really good.
It's a good looking show. Like it looks high budget. Even like the zombies, like they got good makeup on them and stuff like that.
See, that's funny you say that, because to me, I it was kind of back and forth. Some of the shots, I'm like, oh, this zombie looks good. This one looks kind of not as much makeup. Like,
it's not the best, but like I've seen a lot of bad zombie makeup. I would say as much as I hate Walking Dead, like the best zombie makeup like in the biz,
absolutely. That's what it's most famous for.
It's not that level, but it's not as bad as like other dude, we just watched the Resident Evil movie with really low effects.
Well, I didn't.
And this is much higher than that. You know what I mean? So, it looks better than the zombies in that movie,
That's cool.
So
yeah, that I didn't even end up watching that movie because it just didn't look good.
That's probably that is actually high praise, because that first off, it's Netflix. That's high praise.
High praise.
I don't feel like getting up and getting my Nick Cage mask, but you get it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because that Netflix, man, I guess they even stepped up for Cowboy Bebop, and clearly they didn't believe in that show. So
no, they jumped ship the second there was like 2 bad comments about it.
Yeah, sure.
We're gonna cancel this like a week after it comes out, right? But yeah, like that's kind of what I got from at least the cinematography was like, oh, this show actually looks cinematic.
Yeah.
Whereas the movie looked worse. I don't know.
Yeah, the movie made it just looked. Yeah, it's for me. And I was bringing this up in our chat, and it's like I don't want to be that person, because it's like at the end of the day, cast who you want to cast if you think they are good for the role or whatever. It's like there's just always that thing in the back of your mind of like, are they just making this decision just to check off a box, or are they doing it because it makes sense? It's like, what? Like, yeah, great actor, right? I mean, freaking Silence.
Oh yeah, Lance Reddick. Yeah, he's awesome
as Albert Wesker. It's just his voice is a presence there, but it's like, it's similar with that Resident Evil movie. Like it showed the actors in that movie. I'm like, this person doesn't fit this character to me. It doesn't make sense. Like the only character that works with, in my opinion, and it's hilarious at this point, but in a sad way, is Chris Redfield. Because how many different Chris Redfields have there been in the games? Like,
yeah, they all look like completely different character models.
It's like there's literally like 4 different Chris Redfields. Like, so like in the movies or shows, you could almost get away with it with Chris, because it's like, oh, isn't that funny how we're doing the thing from the game, how it's a different, you know? But like all the characters have looked the same from like all the way. Like Albert Wesker has looked the same since the original Resident Evil. He's this tall, big, kind of like bulky dude, not bulky, but he's just like this really tall blonde guy. And I don't know. I just think it's weird when they make decisions like that. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if that's something that.
I think he's a good actor. It doesn't matter.
No, of course. It's just weird when they make decisions like that. Because
well, trying to check off boxes. If race had anything to do with their character arc, like they were going through something, because of their race or whatever, and then race spending that takes away that whole entire character trait of that character, and it's important to that. Sure. But there's never a moment in time where it matters that Wesker is white or black or Hispanic or whatever. It doesn't matter, So like, make him, Portuguese for all I care, like just as long as it's played by a good character and it's written well, I super don't care.
Can I apply for the role then?
Yeah, I would love it, dude. Switch out your glasses for aviators, and you're right there, right? Like, that's pretty good.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't have aviators yet, so that's.
I have a feeling he's going to. I have a feeling he's going to wear the trench coat. I have a feeling he's going to do all that stuff. We're going to find out that he's like a clone or something like that. Like, that's, like, it's all
sure, because those
together.
Yeah, because it's like these 2 girls are his daughters. They're saying on the so it'll be interesting to see. Again, it's just the first episode. There's not much to latch onto yet. There are things that happen, and it's like, oh, okay. And then that cliffhanger at the end, she goes jumping. It's like, well, that seems like a bad idea.
Well, and the thing that said right before the cliffhanger was really cool too. I thought that was a nice hook where so and so was looking for you, and it's like, oh,
right, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So we'll see where it goes. And I mean, the reviews seem like they're good, right?
Reviews are pretty good. They're actually kind of all over the place as more came out, but like, dude, all the way from like 4s and 5s to 9s, man. Like,
sure.
But, like, I saw a lot more positive than good, and mostly 7 through 8s and stuff like that. So I'm surprised it's as there's any good reviews out for it, and not because of what I've seen in the first season, just because like classically Resident Evil things in live action suck and have for a long time. So
yes, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see all 8 episodes how that stacks up.
Yeah.
In the whole universe of Resident Evil.
I'm interested to see if it connects as much as I'm putting in my head that it does. You know what I mean? Like I may be the one who comes out of it really wounded because I have all these expectations of connectivity and stuff like that. Sure. So we'll see. Well, we'll see. We'll see how misplaced some of my stuff is.
It's one of my favorite series. So
same. I'm such a sucker for that. So
I'm excited to watch the rest of them. So. What do we want to go? Who's the clown that put Jurassic World DUMBinion? Huh? Who's the clown? Who's the clown?
Yeah, I watched.
Was it dumb?
I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
Okay. Did you actually watch it, or?
I did.
Okay.
It came out in a totally legal way, and I watched it totally legally.
Sure.
Obviously, you can check the records.
Can I?
Can I? So you can't.
Give me your computer.
Give me your computer. Give me your computer.
Let me see that computer of yours.
Hey, kid, I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading. The best.
My mom lets me use the computer.
Oh, man.
Body massage machine, go.
G.I. Joe.
We're just going to quote G.I. Joe for the rest of the night.
3, 2, 1.
Any of those episodes where the joke overstays its welcome? Yeah. No, my favorite one is the shortest one where he's like, "Hey guys, check it out over here," and he falls off the cliff. He goes, "Shit!"
What's the fire one? Isn't there a fire one? I forget.
There is. I
forget the fire
pork
one.
Chop sandwiches.
Oh, shit! Pork chop sandwiches. Yeah, pork chop
sandwiches. Yeah. And he just sits there cursing for like 10 minutes, and he's like, "Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but he's like, he got the smiling G.I. Joe face. He's like, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. It's so good.
Or the other one where like the guy's like sneaking through the window and it's like, and he just like disintegrates everybody in the room. Like it makes no sense. Like,
I gotta go watch those again. I know there's a playlist procured on
what drug when they were doing
on YouTube.
I don't know, dude. That's like early internet. That's like
That's
like the beginning of the internet stuff right there. Like,
good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So was this actually, in fact, dumb or not, Jeff?
I thought it was. Why
are you saying that like it's controversial? Like, you know what, guys?
Well, because there are some people that, man, I gotta. Oh. All right, so
you guys hated the second one.
I didn't like Fallen Kingdom. Oh, then you'll be fine. You'll be fine with this movie.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like, I think people that liked Fallen Kingdom will like this one more than that one.
Okay.
For sure. Like, because it's more of the same plus nostalgia. Sure. So I think they'll definitely like this the most. Well, they'll probably like the first one the most. I don't know. How did you feel about the first one, the Jurassic World?
I mean, I liked that one.
That was that's probably my favorite.
I thought it was an interesting premise, bringing
really
the park back and like it's like more modern and more technology, and then obviously
Margaritaville,
shit hits the fan. Yeah, and then shit hits the fan. So
right. So it was more like it was more closer to one, but it was it was like a remake more than anything. Even though it existed in the same world, but
it was the Force Awakens of
exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, this one, I honestly can't even believe they brought the main cast back for this. Like, what the hell?
I'm pretty sure they can't believe they're back either, Jeff.
Yeah, no, they're acting like they can't believe they're back too. That's the thing.
We said yes to this.
So I don't remember in the first Jurassic Park movie, because that's the only movie that Sam Neill and Laura Dern were in together.
Yeah,
they were in 3 together, but like not in the same scene.
Just in the beginning, right?
He was calling her like on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was actually in the scene for that. I forgot.
Yeah, she was.
No, like they're
at home. She was at home.
Yeah, she's at home. I don't think they're sharing a screen together, but like it'll flash to her at home, and she's like, Alan, and I don't know. Yeah. I remember her being in that movie though.
Huh. Yeah. Well, I just don't remember them being as romantically obsessed with each other. Like, I don't know. I just felt that they kind of forced it here, especially after so many years in the story being away from each other. I'm like, wouldn't they have just moved the hell on? I don't know. They just
in 3 there's the whole arc where he's like, I really screwed up letting you go and stuff like that. Like the whole thing. Like,
so I guess they were romantically involved. All right.
They wanted to
but like I think
I just didn't really believe
they
the
implied
chemistry.
that
That's
he kind of
thing.
slept on the relationship or didn't like push it further. Like she like but they never really fully explore it. So it's like this does sound out of place, Jeff. I'm not, like that.
Gotcha.
All of a sudden they're really romantic together. It's
that just felt really odd. And then like the scenes that they were in kind of felt like they didn't really matter. Like you could have just kept the same characters. The clone actress is in this again. That's a spoiler on the Fallen Kingdom, by the way. And she's like, obviously she's a teenager and she's doing teenager things and whatever. So yawn and boring and bad.
I don't even remember what you're referencing.
Fallen Kingdom. She's a clone of a doctor who like died young.
Damn, I do
but that
not
doctor was like
that.
a big
that's
deal.
why I've
just seen it the once, so I mean.
But her big moment in Fallen Kingdom was they cloned me using the same DNA that they cloned dinosaurs with.
Sure.
Yeah, and she's like, they're like me, and there was like that whole moment where
she's
she
the little
them.
kid, right?
Yeah.
She's
they're in a big mansion for some reason.
Sure.
I can't believe you get Chris Pratt in a movie and a child says something as dumb as that, and he doesn't have a quip for her. Like, they're just like me. No, they're not. They're like,
they're dinosaurs, you weirdo. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end, they're all like, sure, let's just release all the.
She did that. Yeah, she's like, because they're just like me, I'm gonna release all of them. So like, she is the reason the whole world is filled with bloodthirsty dinosaurs killing everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they treat her like some sort of hero all this third movie, or like that she didn't do anything wrong or something like that.
No, they don't even address that part.
That's so dumb. How do you not address? She literally destroyed.
She literally did it.
She might be the most evilest character in all of cinema. And they don't even address it.
In all of cinema.
She destroyed the world, Dan.
The only reason they've been keeping her in hiding
destroys planets. All right.
They've been keeping her in hiding because she is a clone. She's like the only human clone. And they're keeping her away from the obviously there's an evil corporation that does experiments.
There always has to be. There always has been. That's not new. Yeah.
So that's why she's in hiding, not because she's evil, which would make a lot more sense. That'd be really funny, actually, if they did approach it from that angle.
Dude, they could have done it
like she's locked in a cage,
9, right?
She did it.
They could have done it like episode 9, where Kylo Ren shows up and he's like looking for the clone. And you know what? Do you guys get what I'm doing here with the clone? No.
No.
Episode 9, the clone. Palpatine returns.
I don't remember him being a clone. Sorry.
Oh, isn't he a clone?
I'm kidding. No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
That was the big thing, is that I thought it was so obvious he was a clone, and people kept on trying to come up to me, and they're like, "Kyle, did you realize that he was a clone?" I'm like, "Yeah, the movie, it tells you if you were watching it, so
it tells you.
You didn't stumble upon a new factoid, and you're not you're not
Damn, I really didn't pay attention to that movie the 2 times I watched
it. The comparison of these new Jurassic movies compared to the new Star Wars movies is pretty apt. Yeah.
I mean, the Star Wars sequel trilogy is way better, but that's okay. That's all right. Anyway, don't watch this movie if you hated Fallen Kingdom.
So there's nothing to extract from it that's fun or interesting, or does Jeff Goldblum?
It has an ending.
Does Goldblum say must go faster?
That made me really happy. What?
Does Goldblum say must go faster? Does he say must go faster?
I don't remember that.
So it's like a famous quote from the first movie.
Or
go faster. Let's go faster.
Let's go faster.
Let's go faster.
No, that doesn't happen.
I don't remember. How do I not remember that? But this doesn't happen in this movie.
When he's injured on the back
objects
of the Jeep.
in the mirror are closer than they appear. They're running away in the Jeep, and then like the T-Rex is right behind them.
Yeah, he eats the guy on the toilet.
That scene's amazing. Nothing can ever top that scene in the Jurassic.
The only person
franchise.
on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer. Sorry.
So, here's my favorite part of Dominion. Is when not just Chris Pratt's character goes up to a random dinosaur, not even just raptors anymore, and does this move.
No, I'm out. I hate that whole thing. I hate this whole idea that we could domesticate dinosaurs.
Full stop.
He just goes eyes on me, and he just
doesn't the bad guy of the series Wong show up, and he's just like, I'm really sorry about all the stuff I did. And he's just like, good, no. I'm out.
Not even that long of a scene. I
hate it.
Even Goldblum goes, that guy?
The stakes are
gonna be fine with him now.
The stakes are just non-existent in this series. It's crazy to me. There's just no stakes at all. It's just crazy to me.
But there was a really, really funny. To me, it was funny because it was so dumb. But it was an accidentally dumb scene. It wasn't clearly being deliberate. They thought they wrote. This is another. They're just like me moment where they thought they wrote something cool here. There's a raptor that comes into the building. It might have been blue. It might have been the same one that Chris claims Chris Pratt's character claims he was able to domesticate, even though he's still a raptor.
He was banging a raptor for sure.
Yeah, he's totally did it to Borkham. So Blue walks in and is like, there's 3 characters there. It's like Owen and Clone Girl. And it might be Sam Neill's character. And the Clone Girl goes up and does the hand thing.
No, I'm out, dude. I can't handle Clone Girl.
And then both Owen, Chris Pratt's character, and freaking Sam Neill do it. And I'm like, oh my God. They're trying to make the domesticating thing a freaking character, like a big moment.
I am Spartacus, one of those moments.
We can do this now, guys.
I am Spartacus.
Humans have a chance now, guys. It's so terrible.
We can coexist with these animals.
If you just stick your hand out, is it just going to be like a viral TikTok in that timeline? Where
they're all genetically had that.
This is how we do it, guys. You got to stop them. Stop.
This just sounds like something Sasan would try to do, and then the dinosaur would just eat his effing arm off, right? I mean, just be like, full stop.
That was definitely the funniest part of the movie for me.
That's the funniest
on accident.
So it's a comedy, is what you're saying.
It can be if you don't like the direction of the Jurassic franchise, then it can be, yes.
Sure. All right.
If you've liked it so far, you're in good hands with this movie. But I will continue to call it DUMBinion. DUMBinion.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Well, since it's on the thumbnail, we'll save the gray man for the last thing that we're watching. Bill Burr. Hey, Bill Burr.
Right.
Hey.
We're all tired of woke people,
Bill Burr
right?
live at the Red Rocks. Literally, the rocks around him are red.
Kyle,
they were red, man.
You could have just said good job, and he would have heard you if you shouted it from your backyard.
I could have screamed out Bill Burr, and he would have been like,
he would have been like,
somebody say my name.
I'd be like, hey, Billy Blue Balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Morrison's, I mean, Red Rocks is great, so what a cool place to. Bert Kreischer just did a big set there too.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is a great special. I've been liking more and more of Bill Burr's stuff more lately, whereas when he first started, and people were already fans of him, and like constantly talking about him. And I was just like, sorry guys, I just don't get. But like the last couple specials that he's had, I think 3 or 4, like really like resonate deeply. Like maybe I just get angry and more bitter as I get older, and that's why I'm on his wavelength. Kind of like Larry David,
the Larry David effect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just more cynical, and he just brings it out like it's just cathartic to watch him sometimes.
Well, it's funny. Rant. It's funny because I knew about his mushroom trip. Like I had heard him talk about that in a podcast. I think it was Kevin Hart's podcast. Actually, was when I first heard him talking about.
Pow. You got to tell me about the mushrooms. Bam, pow.
Kevin Hart. I hang out with the Rock. So much smaller than the Rock.
Here's what we're gonna do. Bam, pow.
Hey,
I am not that tiny.
And it was funny him just explaining it, tripping and kind of like internalizing like all of that like trauma inside him with his childhood and everything, and coming to terms with that through the trip, like in a different way. But like, yeah, just him kind of like him as he's gotten older, like he got married later in life and he's having kids later in life, and it's like there is a difference of Bill Burr now. Obviously, when he's on stage, he's like doing his Bill Burr thing, but he is actually
he says things to get, much like Louis C.K. I know he's canceled. I know he's canceled now. Whatever.
He came back, but he's still canceled.
Yeah, he is. I mean, his career is definitely not what it was.
No.
But like he was talking about how he used to do rather safe sets about his marriage, his first marriage.
Sure.
And talking about my kids, this and that, blah blah blah, kids, right? Like doing those kind of jokes. And then he made like a dead baby joke or something, and he got like the reaction, and he was like, oh, and the crowd, like he was, as he's recounting this, the crowd did that back to him.
Yeah.
When he retold the joke, like it was, he was like, and then I heard that sound you guys just made. I heard that sound. He's like, I loved it. And he was like, I wanted that. So that's what Bill Burr tries to do, is like get that kind of reaction.
Yeah. For sure.
It's totally part of the bit, bro. Like I just
absolutely
I love that about him.
No, absolutely.
And that's when he laughs. He's
when he does that.
He loves it's like he's grilling the audience to an extent. And that's what he loves. When he laughs, you can tell, like he's like, I got you.
Oh yeah. And like he'll like when there's moments where like there's silence and he's like, oh, you're all gonna get quiet now, huh? He like leans in, he's like, so you're gonna get quiet, huh? You don't like what I'm saying, huh? You don't like
lesbian, nothing. I just can't say him.
Was it Sean Connery versus Coco Chanel? Like
yeah.
He's like, so which one's worse? Like which one? Let's talk about Sean Connery again. What did he do?
Yeah, let's compare.
Let's compare notes.
What did he do again?
Yeah, what did he do again? Oh, listen here.
My terrible Burr impression. I love it. It's so stupid.
But I do love like just like that he's changed enough where like he can still do the Bill Burr thing, but like it is sweet with like him kind of doing the bits with the kid and her be like, Dad, no bad words. And
I think every comedian goes through this phase too, as they get older and get married and stuff like that. Like they transition into these like these family, not like family, like this PG. Right. Like it's very much his style, but he's also talking about his kids. Yeah. Everybody has done that. Bert Kreischer has done this set. Tom Segura does this set. Like everyone has this moment where they start telling more jokes about their family, and it's all about putting their spin and their style on it. And as long as they do it, it works.
Because it's they're all different. Like you're mentioning Louis C.K. Like I remember a couple of stand-up special where there's he brings up the kids, but like he kind of just would shit on his own kids. Like,
but that's what Bert Kreischer does, and that's that's not quite what Bill was doing here.
Sure.
But I'm sure
that's the thing. Bill went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Which is surprising for his personality.
Maybe that changes. That joke changes as they get older, and stuff like that. And I can see that happening. But yeah, like everyone takes turns at that. Like And Bill does the classic, my wife, hey, like he'll do that, so I there's just classic templated jokes that like they go after, but it's all about putting their spin on it. I think a lot of people end up nailing it, but it's all about nailing it. So
I don't listen to Bill's podcast because I'm just not super into like a one person podcast, even though I love Bill and he's my favorite.
Oh, I didn't realize it was one person. Ooh, right.
Yeah, it's just rough. Him, but like he will occasionally have a guest on, but then he does like these segments with his wife Nina, which are actually super fun because Nina's actually pretty funny. So like the way that like he just will like dig into her and just be his typical Bill Burr wise ass self like at his wife, and she just like doesn't take his shit, and she'll just like totally.
He would have to marry someone like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the only type of person that he could have ever married, which is great.
No, absolutely. Yeah, she throws it right back at him. So it's a funny back and forth. So when he brings her up on stage, and he does that, like he always does the same voice for Nina. Just for years and years, like when he was his girlfriend. My wife likes a particular older joke about like the muffins and like smashing the muffins because like she wanted to like bake in the kitchen together and it'd be super sweet. And you just smashing the muffin. You just talking about smashing the muffins. But yeah, Bill Burr is fantastic. I love Bill Burr. This one's fun.
I can't wait to see him in September, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then Tim's seeing him in December, I think, at the end of his tour.
See, I thought this one was going to be for the new tour. I didn't realize this one's from the kind of smaller tour that he did right before this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot this last year,
beginning
of this year.
Just for a little, just not like in no way like a gripe or a negative or anything. Bill has certainly settled in a sort of kind of like structure of like, he kind of does like, all right, so I'm gonna tick the boxes of like shitting on women in some way or doing this sort of thing, and like, so I it's funny because he does do it differently every time, but I do appreciate more when he kind of, like I said in the chat, like where he kind of veers off a little bit. Like my favorite Bill Burr joke is the gorilla one where he's trying to help the gorilla escape the zoo and he teaches it how to walk and then he buys it clothes and then he sneaks it on the boat. And then they get to the jungle. Do you guys not?
I don't know that one. No.
Okay, no. It's my favorite one because he's like really acting it out too, and he does like he portrays the gorilla like trying to learn how to walk. So he does this whole thing where the gorilla like he tells the gorilla to keep his arms to his sides instead of like doing this because he's a gorilla. So like he's trying to like do the like one step, was it his right foot forward, left hand, and then I don't know. It's a whole thing, but like just the way that he acts it out and kind of like delivers it is just like really funny, and it's very different for Bill because again, it's usually
it's not one of his checkbox,
like him shitting and kind of exactly. So I do like when he kind of throws those in there more so just to kind of balance things out. There wasn't too much of that in this stand-up, but still super funny. He's a hilarious human being. So
I enjoy his comedy fine. I think he's at his best like when he's completely off the cuff. I don't want to call it improving, but like let's just say he's on like a podcast. Yeah, like he is so quick and so ready to dismantle you, and he's not the smartest guy in the room, but he will take you down. Like, and it's. And the thing I always remember is in 2012, Joe Rogan was doing an end of the year podcast, end of the world. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah.
So it was like Doug Stanhope and like every huge comedian working at the time. They were doing it at the Ice House. Yep. And like it was a 4-hour long podcast, and I remember Bill Burr came in at like the 2-hour mark and just freaking decimated everybody. Just came in and just ribbing and killing and murdering, and it's just all at the cuff. Like it's just him, just being him. He's easily one of the funniest people in the room, even when he's surrounded by his peers, and like that's a feat, man, to be funny around like all the funniest people on earth. So
reminds me of another canceled person, Chris D'Elia, who is miles funnier in podcast form than he is telling stand-up.
Is that to do with the kind of longish black hair a little bit?
He was caught like grooming like, and
not
stuff
great,
like that.
But like, dude, like he was so funny when he was just like acting off of you, dude,
even when he was just he did a solo podcast too, but I normally say, no, I'm not listening to a solo podcast, but for some reason I did for Chris D'Elia because he was just so effing entertaining off the cuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is this on stage?
He's
like
his own party. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you do better off getting up there doing improv than like, it's like you go up there with your script and like you totally don't just deliver. I don't know. Right. I just don't find his jokes very funny. But boy, he's so funny outside of that. He's also a rapist, so it's not, we don't have to spend too much time.
A little rapey.
He's got a little rapey.
Absolutely. But yeah, Bill's fantastic. Please go watch his stand-up special.
Red Rocks. Paper Tiger's great too. I love that.
Most of them are on Netflix, so go watch.
Yeah. Netflix have a very healthy relationship. So.
The one I think
been that way for years too. Like before he shaved his head. So.
The one with the gorilla bit, and that's pretty much at the very end. I think is the one where he did in Texas.
Hair or no hair?
No hair.
No hair. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a newer one. I think it's the one before Paper Tiger.
Okay.
So
I don't think I caught that one. I kind of like the Paper Tiger might have been like my first full Bill Burr.
Yeah, it's I was gonna pull up just to say what the name of it is, but if we're done discussing Bill Burr, we could talk about the Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Is he actually gray? Spoiler alert. Or?
No, it's about aliens, right? Like the Gray Man, right?
The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Not a sequel to the Northman or anything. Not a sequel to like Dark Man.
Or the Fremen.
Dune
Fremen.
So this is the Gray Man. No, it's just the Gray Man, which is another, word for spy, pretty much, because the Jason Bourne type of spies that do shit and then they disappear to the shadows like a ghost.
Like a Gray Man.
Exactly. But they also live in the gray, so they can kind of get away with stuff maybe the CIA wouldn't normally allow. So they do that type of stuff. They do shady stuff too. So like Ryan Gosling is the lead dude. His name is just Six the whole time. I don't ever remember hearing his actual name, but he does have one.
Wait, so is 11 in this movie? Or
how dare you, sir? Throw me off. But like
you railroad son of a bitch.
So like the movie starts with I don't know how long ago that was, 10 years ago, when Gosling is in prison and Billy Bob Thornton shows up and recruits him. And first Gosling is like, his character is like, I don't know, man. But I think I can't remember what he said. Like he says, Billy Bob says, you killed a bad guy, and he's like, yeah, but you want me to be like an agent, which is just insane. And he's like, yeah, but you'll be out of prison. He's like, oh, never mind. Okay, well, cool. Well, I'm gonna do this then. And then we get no training montages, and suddenly he's just amazing at his job. So there's nothing. It's not like an origin story. It's like you see Jason Bourne being Jason Bourne, which you never really got. Him when he was actually working for the CIA. Mm-hmm. We never really got that. He had already got amnesia by the time we met Jason Bourne and piecing together what he was. So this is like him on the job at the CIA, Gray Man, whatever his name is, Six. And then he, discovers that there's somebody at the CIA is not the fan of this operation that he used to be a part of at the CIA. Like there's somebody that's like, this whole agent, this whole like Billy Bob Thornton operation that he put together, where it's like all these secret agents out there murdering people. I'm a new guy, and I don't like that. So we're gonna start killing all these people.
Yeah, right.
And wet behind the ears, these new guys.
And this new guy at the CIA is played by the dude that's famous for being hot on Bridgerton. That's the only thing he's famous for. I don't know if he's a good actor.
No idea who that is.
But he hosted SNL, and it was just nothing but catcalls when he was on screen. Nothing but. And I'm like, okay, so that's what he's famous for, just being hot. That's it. And then nice. Jessica Hennick is in this from Matrix Resurrections.
Love her.
Colleen Wing from The Only Good Thing from Iron Fist.
She's the greatest.
She's so great. Such a badass. So she plays another CIA director. She's kind of meant to play like a wet rag to Chris Evans because she shares a lot of scenes with him. But there's more to her character than that. She's not just there to be like.
I didn't know she was in this.
You can't do that, Chris Evans. Yeah, she wasn't in the trailer anywhere. I remember at least one of the trailers I watched. I was like, oh, she's not in the trailer. I know she's in the cast list. I don't see her in the movie. Yeah, she's in this a lot. Yeah, who else is in this? Anna de Armas, who is amazing in everything, makes every movie like at least 5 points higher than it should be.
I didn't know you were a fan.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I
remember
wasn't
that
aware.
time I had her on the
no,
on my background?
I wasn't aware.
Maybe I can change it to my background again.
Sure.
But she's in it. Chris Evans plays a great shit heel in this. He is just so unlikable, but it's a joy to hate him.
Sure. Hit that stash.
There's a lot of the Russo brothers playful, like, improv lines that feel like they're improv.
Community humor.
Yeah, exactly. And Ryan Gosling, I watched the Q&A after the movie, and Ryan Gosling said that quite a few of his improvised lines made it into the movie.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, that's right. He loves doing that stuff, like that off the cuff stuff, like the part in the trailer where he's running off of a train car that's like he's on top of a train, and the train is like speeding down the road and collapsing, and he's running on the train cars trying to not die. Sure. Anyway, that whole action sequence was really cool to me. But then, like, he gets in the car with Ana de Armas after, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "I mean, my ego's a little bruised," and yada yada. And he like starts going into like a whole rant, and apparently that was not scripted. He just kind of they just let him go, and he was like, "All right, it's in the movie now." So that was fun. So there's a lot of quips in there, and Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans are so freaking funny back and forth. Dang, man, I enjoyed this movie more than I expected, because critics are like not lukewarm. Some of them are like, this is just proof that the Russo brothers can't do anything good outside of Marvel. This is terrible. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys not like fun anymore? What happened to you?
No fun.
I don't know, man. I had fun with it. The story is not amazing. If you've seen a Bourne movie, that's what this is. It's a Bourne movie. But it's just better than the fourth one. So yeah.
Okay.
To me it is. Yeah.
Okay.
With Hawkeye?
Kind of like. No.
We don't even.
I'm sorry. I meant the official fourth one with Jason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Although funny, because then Chris Evans is Captain America, so he's doing a better Bourne.
Yeah.
Captain America's doing a better Bourne than Hawkeye did.
No, Ryan Gosling is doing the Bourne thing. He's because Bourne had the whole MacGyver thing about him, where he's like,
sure.
He can make something up, and
you
then
can grab
like,
a newspaper and kill you,
and I'll kill you. So he does a lot of that, where like he's trapped somewhere, and he's like, okay, what do I have in my bag? And he's just put something together to get out of a situation. He does that a lot. He uses like Krav Maga stuff too. Like some of the action fights are like really good. There's an early fight early on where like they're deliberately trying to be shaky cam and choppy because he's trying to be covert, and it's trying to show you how caught off guard everyone is by his existing and killing people and stuff in the dark. So I guess there's a reason for that, but there's other action scenes beyond that. There's one at a hospital where like this Indian movie star, this action star shows up just to beat ass, and he's so good. He fights both Gosling and Ana de Armas, and it's just such a great actual like fight, like not a superhero fight, just two dudes that are really good at kicking ass trying to beat each other. It
sounds like a movie that has just fun like fights and scenes,
like
just chase
and one-liners.
Scenes
There's so many one-liners. Oh my god,
I love it. It sounds like a 90s action flick.
This is throwback 90s action movie.
Transporter.
I
like
really
what if John
miss like one-liner, like what was the other movie that came out not too long ago that was like in space with like oh my god, with Guy Ritchie, Lockdown,
Lockout
or something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
It's just the one that what John Carpenter sued him over, right?
Because it was literally just Escape from LA, but in space. It's the same exact like they just changed the names of people. But like that
throwback movie
is so fun, and like it had like it was so aged out by the time it came out. Right. But like again, it's a throwback movie, and it's just Guy Ritchie like throwing quips on.
That might have been people's issue with it, is that it is a throwback movie, but it's got today's paint, so like the visuals and CG is all there. But if it had more of an aesthetic to it, maybe people would be like, "Oh, this is a throwback."
Lockdown got kind of panned in the theaters too, and it became a cult classic. So like that maybe that's this destiny as well.
To me, it feels like a throwback, and I can totally see it now. It's almost like John Woo kept working in America, and this is what he became. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, yeah, he needs a little redemption
because it's so freaking silly.
American movies.
It's so like there's some moments that are just ridiculous. But the thing is too with the script that I love is that they'll have a character call out something that's ridiculous. Like there's a part where Ryan Gosling gets handcuffed to a park bench that's like out in the open at a public square, and there's so many teams of like shady assassins along with cops that are coming, and they're like going into a shootout, and they're all like bullets are flying by, and Chris Evans is watching from his like safe house or whatever, his castle, and and he's like, can somebody shoot the guy that's handcuffed to a park bench? Like, they're just calling out the stupid crap that's happening on screen. I love that. I love when that type of stuff happens. There's other stuff they did too, where like a big trope in spy movies is, oh, look, I got the cam footage from this, and let's just enhance. And in this movie, they specifically have a scene where he's like, oh, I got a screen grab from the camera footage. Resolution's too shitty to make it out though, and I'm like, this movie's amazing.
Yeah, they did it right finally. Yeah.
There's no enhance. It's like they zoomed in and it was just blurrier, and I was like, oh,
that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Oh man, so there's quite a few things too. Ryan Gosling's character refused to throw a loaded gun, and apparently that was also an improvised line in the fact that it wasn't written until like the night before or whatever. And they brainstormed that with the Russos brainstormed that because they were like, yeah, if you were a trained assassin, you wouldn't want to throw a loaded gun; it can go off. Sure. So they drop it, whatever. So you just don't throw a loaded gun, and like it turned into like almost like a joke in the movie, but like if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Like if you were a legit assassin, trained by the CIA of all people, like cops, more or less, you wouldn't want to throw a freaking loaded gun. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. Oh, wow, they're trying to make it like stupid proof, but there's still some dumb Fast and Furious type moments in it, like where it's big bass explosion. But I thought it was cool. So some people might hate it. I don't know.
People are dumb.
I'm excited. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
You know what? Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, Chris Evans. That's all I got to say, man. What a sexy sandwich right there.
Handsome people, yeah.
That's a three-way right there.
And you said Henwick, Jessica, that's a lot of talent.
Hot. And that dude from Bridgerton that ladies love.
I don't know about that one. I don't care. I think girls just like Bridgerton. Maybe he sucks. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But he's got a British accent, talks in a low voice.
Does he say bottle of water like bottle water?
No, he's not British in the movie, so he did put on an American accent for that.
Dude,
also, the girl Julia Butters is in it, and
I literally said that to myself the other day like 12 times. Like,
You're not even making it. It's not even words.
It's like asking an Australian to say no without an R. Nar.
No.
To say no? Okay.
Nar.
What?
I don't know.
It just works. God damn it.
By the way, I just realized too that Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas in Blade Runner 2049 together. They were so good together. And
so
then
just a hot couple.
Yeah, and then Chris Evans and Ana de Armas, of course, from Knives Out. So like it was like a two-sided reunion.
Yeah,
and, Ana de Armas got like a whole badass action sequence too that was really cool.
She's the best part of the new Bond.
Oh, for sure.
She looks great.
And I love that she came in and just kicked ass, and he just
leaves. Yeah, she just leaves.
And she leaves, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it kind of makes for it's just like, well, what was the point of that in the movie? Like,
it's true.
But I didn't care because that whole part is very.
It's so good. That felt like
shot on scene, so it's like one of the best shot scenes of that movie too.
Yeah,
like that
absolutely.
whole sequence in the country that they're in. So
yeah. So I thought there was some cool stuff like that in this, where like they're clearly they shot this in Prague.
Cool. Yeah.
Like they made a set on a public square, so they made a public square on top of a public square, so they could destroy it.
Hell yeah.
Then they clearly shot on location here and didn't green screen everything because
do you get to see Prague Castle or any of them? I know there's like 1,000 there. I've seen most of them.
See what?
That's like any of the castles in Prague, like Prague.
Yeah,
Castle,
there's a castle actually. It's not in Prague, but the final set piece in the movie, or I guess you can call it that shootout, whatever finale. It takes place in, I think it's Croatia. I think it's like somewhere on the coast somewhere, because it's one of those old Uncharted type castles where it's like underwater and stuff. Some of it's underwater, but some of it's not, and moated, and some of it's not. And
sure, yeah.
It's one of those really cool old ones. Yeah. I thought that final set piece was really cool too. It might be a little too cute with its callbacks, like how the opening of the movie's very like kind of like a Michael Bay movie where like somebody will say like a line at the beginning and they think you think at the moment, oh, that's clever, and then a character that person says it to returns that line back to the character later, like hey, just another Thursday, right? Huh, yeah, you said it, buddy. And then like in the third act they say it again to each other.
But you know,
like,
doesn't
they do that
a
lot in this
but doesn't
movie.
that
That's
like
a 90s thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I was like, doesn't that make
it's
it more
such
like,
a 90s
like
thing? Yeah.
the genre that it's going after, you know?
I thought it kind of nailed that, but I can see people totally being like, it's just generic Netflix crap, because there is an element of that, I guess, if you look at the CG and budget.
That people would say that and love stuff like Red Notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like that's so rich that like it's just more generic, you know, Facebook crap, Netflix crap. And it's
but
like
you do see those opinions on Facebook.
You guys like love The Guard and like you love all these really bad. Love these really bad like Netflix movies and champion them, and then like hate good one. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it out on Netflix?
The Irishman kind of sucks. You know?
That's the
like,
thing. This is an early screening. I saw it at a Cinemark Thursday night.
So I'm wondering
next week on Netflix.
So I'm wondering if when it hits Netflix, then you'll get more of those opinions of like, oh, this is fun. I have Netflix.
So.
This is fun.
I hope so.
Everybody in the theater it wasn't a sold out show or anything, but you can hear the murmurs of like, man, that was good. That was good. Yeah. So like, maybe more casual moviegoers, when they finally see it, and especially on Netflix or where everybody has access to it, maybe that's when we see the tides change.
I think a lot of people end up watching it too, cast alone. I think you see those three actors and you're like, yeah.
And then when even more actors show up and you're like, holy crap, like Julia Butters shows up in it, and she was a scene partner for Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's a little girl. Like she
that's the
she
best
was like
scene
11.
Of the movie.
Yeah, it's the best part in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Where she's like a super method actor or whatever. And it's adorable. So she's in this too.
Advice,
and she's Billy Bob Thornton's niece or something like that. Okay. But he's kind of like her father figure because she didn't have anybody else. So like she has interactions with Ryan Gosling and stuff, and like they're like almost kind of like nice guys. They're not as vulgar, but they're almost kind of like nice guys where him and his daughter, have like this rapport or whatever. It's not nearly as clever or as R-rated. Let me be clear. Sure. But there's everybody. I recognize like everybody in this movie. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. The beginning has the guy who played. Oh man, he played the henchman of. What's his name? Frank. Whatever. Crossbones. Dang it.
Oh,
Carrillo.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he played his henchman, and this guy shows up in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, oh, this guy must just know the Russo brothers, because like,
sure,
he wasn't a pronounced character, but when you see his face, you're like, oh, what a threatening guy that is. But he shows up in this one, and I'm like, oh yeah, I even recognize that guy. Star. Yeah, there's a ton of people in this, man. It's cool.
Well, like you said, it'll be on Netflix next week. So if you, not fancy people who don't want to go to the theaters, if
you're not an elitist.
Yeah, you're not an elitist, and you just want to sit on your ass and watch on Netflix. Then you can watch it next week.
And I don't
watch it on your phones.
And to quote James Cameron, I don't want to hear you bitching about how long the movie is. You watch 10 hours of TV sitting there and you're all
bitching about how dumb your movie is, dude. Like that, it's talking about the length, I promise.
Defending his movie so hard. Okay. So hard.
All right, let's not go on a tangent about Avatar.
All right, I will. Avatar.
You guys seen Avatar?
Yeah, I got something to say about Avatar.
Have you guys seen Avatar?
Will you write it? I don't know how to write.
Side note, the Bill Burr Walk Your Way Out is the one that I was talking about. So
okay, cool.
Put that in your queue because that one's very good.
Put that in your queue and smoke it, yeah?
Put it in your pipe. All right, so we finished playing and watching. Wow, was that 2 hours of just playing and watching?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we are, right, man.
Yeah, so let's speed this up. Let's speed this up. All right,
so I guess the main thing. Did you want to do your summer game thing?
We'll do the headlines real quick. We'll do the headlines. Okay. And then we'll just because the main thing is not super long. It's just like a fun list of like, oh, this was a summer game. So headlines real quick. All right, so Halo Infinite co-op campaign test scheduled to go live by end of week.
I haven't heard any updates on that, so obviously it didn't go live.
Yeah, it's the end of the week, guys. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, was this written early?
We are close. We are really close to this. I mean, that's pretty far. The progress on that. We're close to getting the co-op campaign, just in time for it to be too late. So that's great. It's really great. Nobody's gonna pick it back up for this. So sorry, guys.
I mean, people have been leaving that team too while they've been trying to pump out updates, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that comes out at the end of this week.
Lord.
So I was referencing Skate earlier in the episode because of EA. So Skate 4 officially titled Skate, no number,
lowercase with a period, because nothing's more Gen Z accessible than that.
So that's specific, that they're specifically doing that. Okay.
Yes, all lowercase with a period.
Game will be free to play. And support crossplay, cross progression. Hold on, did I cut off? No, okay. EA still insists game won't include pay to win mechanics. Okay, sure.
They all do. They all do that.
Sure.
It's gonna be a free to play. It's gonna be more of like a platform type thing where kind of like Rock Band 4,
right? You're buying outfits.
Where Rock Band 4 came out and it was like, well, this, not that it was free to play. But this is going to be a thing we continue to add stuff to. Like, it'll be whatever. It's going to last 10 years, 12 years, and we'll just continue to add more and more content to it.
Couldn't they have?
So that's what they want to make Skate. This I don't know why it's going to be free to play. Maybe that's going to speak to its quality being crappy or something.
It's going to be free to play because it's EA and they want to nickel and dime you for extra outfits.
You think so?
They're like, oh, hey, you want cool stickers on your skateboard? That's going to be $10, please.
Yeah.
Like, for pretend stickers,
which to them does not qualify as pay to win because you're not winning the game,
it's
but
just cosmetics.
That is the main thing that you play these type of games for, like Tony Hawk and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
you play to unlock cosmetics.
Yeah,
like what other measurement of beating the game is there? Like in this
new
type
levels,
of game?
I mean,
yeah,
but like
and new levels you'll get and you expect that out of a game like this, but like you want out of those new levels and beating your times and whatnot and your scores, whatever you want, freaking cats. you want hats,
cats,
and clothes. That's what I was trying to say. You want cats. You want a kitty cat.
Want cats. Absolutely. I mean, I'll pay extra money for that. Yeah. I mean, anytime something like this when it involves EA, it's like
free to play. Yeah.
When they do something like that, where it's like, all right, you're finagling this thing to like, do side stuff where you're gonna, just gouge money out of people. That it gets, things get dicey. So, Multiversus Open Beta.
This is our most anticipated game of the podcast, so I figured we put this headline in there.
Sure, no, absolutely. What's weird is I thought this game was out, like, because I had the code and I tried out the whatever beta it was before, but then
it was alpha. Yeah.
Was it an alpha? Okay, because I couldn't remember, because like you could actually pay almost for like or like a season pass almost, I think already, which is weird because it's like it's not actually fully released. But yeah, open beta launching July 26th. Gamers who played the alpha build will have access to beta on July 19th. All right, so you get a little early, a week early. Beta will support cross-play, cross-progression. Yeah. Cool. I played like a few matches. I mean,
and some people are gonna love, like, this is gonna be for like definitely a specific audience. Some people are gonna love this type of game.
Very specific. Yeah. Because I mean, you can go for that Smash Brothers formula, but you can't be Smash Brothers in my opinion.
Right. Like there are some people that love that Nickelodeon one too. And again, it's a very, very small specific group of people, but
right.
You're gonna reach somebody, I'm sure.
I grew up watching a lot of Nickelodeon. It's not interested in that game. So.
Absolutely not. Yeah. No, thank you.
So cool for throwing this in here. Yoshida says Final Fantasy 16 ditched turn-based combat to appeal to the younger generations, and said open world would have taken 15 years to make. That's an insane statement.
Yeah.
Like how big are these sections, like of these fragmented like sections that they're building?
Yeah, because I think you mentioned, I don't know if it was last week or the week before that it's not going to be open world.
No, it's going to be big areas, like big interconnected areas. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that last tidbit was especially interesting, and how it's like, well, it would have taken 15 years to make, so we're not even.
that sounds like an exaggeration.
There still are open areas though, so like I'm confused.
Well, I guess whatever you're filling in those gaps, because again, it's fragmented, sort of interconnected areas. I'm sure like separated by mountains and like things like that, right? So like, oh, I can't climb that mountain, I guess, like kind of like that, sort of breaking it up that way. I don't know. Yeah, sounds insane. But yeah, I think the kind of comment, and people obviously then take that and run with it with the like, oh, so you can't do turn-based, the younger generation. It's like, I mean, that's just like a generalization, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think if you like took a poll of like younger gamers and older gamers and we're like, oh, so what's your opinion on turn-based?
This is the ADHD generation now. So, I mean, understandably, look at all the bull crap that's being thrown at their eyeballs.
Yeah. Raised on screens generation.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I totally get, oh, well, I just want to hit the character. Like, I just want to hit the bad guy. I totally get like having not the personality or traits, I guess, to sit there and make, decisions that take time in turn-based combat and stuff like that.
And it's certainly not everyone. There's certainly newer gamers that are like, oh, that's interesting.
There are people that are younger, much younger than us in the group that love, games where you have to take your time and
Persona,
stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Dragon Quest.
And that's I personally would consider that a retro style of gaming, because I think Zelda games have always been like that, right?
Zelda games? Turn-based?
I thought there was a turn-based Zelda game early
turn-based, no.
Never?
No, they're all.
What am I thinking of? Final Fantasy then? Just Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy.
I'm just thinking of Final Fantasy because that's like an old ass franchise, and I'm an idiot.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's again, it's kind of like with Fallout 3, right? They were like Fallout 3, where they're like, the combat and the engine's not great. Let's create the VAT system, like kind of like not exactly like turn-based, but like slowing down the combat so you can kind of do more precise shots to kind of give it that strategic element. You know what I mean? Like that's what they had to do back in the day because they couldn't have these kind of games that they have now have that sort of combat. So it makes sense. But, at the end of the day, it's whatever the choice is. If they want to make something a little more action-y, then that's what they're deciding. Yeah. If they want to make it turn-based.
I prefer it that way. I feel like they're just adapting to how Naughty Dog and, now Santa Monica and pretty much every action game is like, I don't know. It just feels like it's getting more cinematic. And, of course, that's Final Fantasy games have always been trying to be something cinematic.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever since they started, like they've always wanted to tell stories cinematically. So the more cinematic gameplay is allowed to be, they're going to want to do it in just an straight up action way, and not so much turn based. And because it's more cinematic. Look at all the colors.
With the 7 remake, or I guess, and then the second one's going to be called Rebirth. So like these new Final Fantasy 7 games, there is a layer of like turn-based sort of like strategy in there. It's not just straight up hack and slash.
Play with your teammates and stuff. You have to
you're
some
switching
decisions. Yeah,
they have strengths and weaknesses. There's an ATB type of meter, and then you're doing magic and certain extra abilities that uses up that meter. So there is an element of strategy there. It's not totally just like Devil May Cry, just hacking away and shooting. You know? So
I mean, but it can be. So like, I guess it scratches some turn-based itch, but it's a loose version of it.
It depends on how,
But I prefer to just do hack and slash for the most part, I guess, with some spells and trickery and stuff going in there. I respect the legacy of the turn-based combat.
Of course. Whatever. Just let the devs do what they want to do. Just keep your mouth shut.
I'm one of those impatient people. I don't have ADHD or ADD to my knowledge, because I seem a little more focused than that. Sure. But I do prefer the come on, I just want to go up and hit him type of game.
I just want to smash him.
Like that's why I'm playing God of War again. Like I just want that Thor type feeling of having a weapon and just want to smash things. I want to smash that chest.
Dude, Kratos smashes the shit out of everything.
He does. He abuses those chests.
So violent. Assassin's Creed Codename Rift is reportedly the next Assassin's Creed game. Will be set in Baghdad and follows Basim. I forget how to pronounce his name.
The Valhalla guy.
From AC Valhalla, from the modern perspective, the modern day stuff. After Rift will be AC Infinity, which is the.
I think that's the free. That might be their free to play.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask. I thought that was like their
multi-generation thing,
like live service like thing. But I guess there's another.
No, they have said that this is gonna be like the smaller game they release first, and then they're gonna be like the next year, Infinity, guys. Infinity's coming, and it's probably gonna be terrible.
Can't wait. Ubisoft has been on a roll.
Yeah, I know, right? Speaking of them, they got the delisting
speaking
controversy.
Of Ubisoft doing awesome things. Delisting many games from Steam in September, including Assassin's Creed Liberation, impacting access to DLC content, even if you already bought it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if you bought the DLC or not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does obviously matter if you didn't buy it, because that means you can't buy it anymore. But if you even already own it as a consumer, that DLC content's gone, and all the online support for it. Like,
so is this comment here? It says from Ubisoft.
Yeah, they had to clarify. Like, they had. I mean, because there was outrage from this big time, because they were like, "So you don't even own games anymore? Technically, you can buy a game and not even own it. That's crazy."
Right. Exactly.
Much like movies and stuff on video on demand. So that was like a big outrage. Obviously, people love to outrage about Ubisoft and just in general, because it's a good feeling and you get likes. But so likes. That's why Ubisoft had to issue this statement about, okay, only DLC and whatever online features, because people thought that they were going to lose base game entirely. The verbiage on Steam said you can't access this game anymore after September, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, why are they?
That's why they had to clarify. No. You're not losing the base game. You're not losing your games, but you are losing a little money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and they're doing that on September 1st. So
September 1st. Gotcha. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. They're under a microscope right now. Bunch of these Ubisoft / EA companies are.
They certainly are. Well,
that's all I had. That's all I had for headlines. That's all I came up with. I don't know if there's anything else.
Let's talk about something fun. Something, the sunshine is beaming in. It's summertime, boys.
Oh man, you're telling me 100+ degree days, like having energy conservation.
We got that here too.
Requests.
Yeah, it's awful.
Stupid.
But let's think back to when we were kids. Remember when school would end, and you'd go home. You have summer vacation, and well, we didn't have the amount of games coming out then like we do now, and we didn't have jobs, so we couldn't buy all the games.
No.
But just imagine being a kid back then, having all the money and being able to play all these fun summer games.
Well, or at least being able to rent them from Blockbuster repeatedly.
Yes, exactly.
Because I can't remember a time I bought. It was so rare that I bought a game.
Yeah. No,
and if I did, I bought it from Blockbuster, like pre-owned or something.
Same, yeah.
But I mostly
traded in a bunch of stuff at like
exactly
Funko Land or something like that.
Dude, Funko Land. Oh my god. So I put together and I scoured some videos. I did some research, guys. I was like scouring videos. I was cross-referencing with
this.
Wikipedia.
Good Lord.
And I'm sure there are a bunch of games that I'm missing, of course, but this is just like stuff that, again, through videos and kind of just games popping into my head, I'm like, oh, hey, let me check to see when this came out. So I've put just a random list of 20 games and then some honorable mentions because there was no Metacritic average for these games. But the 20 games list that I put together, highest rated summer games. You guys want to start at the bottom, go up, or?
Yeah, let's start at the bottom. You want to do the honorable mentions first?
Sure. Summer starts June 21st, by the way, and ends on September 22nd. So anything in between that counts as a summer game. And I mean, I didn't even realize as I was grabbing the dates, I was like, shit, some of these are Japan technically versus the US. So I didn't go back and so some of these are technically, they were released in the summer in Japan, not here, but they're summer games. So whatever. Honorable mentions, the original Star Ocean, which was back on Super Nintendo, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Released on July 19th, 1996. So I don't know if
I don't think I ever touched that one.
No. They did a remaster on the PS4 and Switch for that. It's called Star Ocean First Departure.
Gotcha.
That was a really pretty Super Nintendo game. It was like a late Super Nintendo game. Pretty gorgeous for a pixelated like Super Nintendo game. The original Street Fighter, very first Street Fighter, came out on August 12th, 1987.
I don't think I jumped on until 2.
I think the original Street Fighter is only in arcades. I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
But I think
that makes sense.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot. There you go, Gaston.
Oh,
Is a shout out for Crash
Bandicoot. Oh my God. I hope this game failed miserably. Did it?
Well, there's no Metacritic average, so
okay.
That means no one gives
that
a
answers
shit.
It. No one cares.
That came out September 9th, 1996.
Yeah, so there should be reviews, and the fact that there aren't, piece of garbage. So trash.
So
We're gonna get so many comments from Gaston about this.
There's a lot of 9s and 6s in there. There's a lot of 9s and 6s in there. If you flip them around, there's a lot of 6s, and that's the number of the devil. So that game is the devil.
Yep.
Is basically what I'm equating that to. The original Donkey Kong, the original, he's throwing shit down at Mario, or I don't know if his name was Mario yet, but released on July 9th.
Innocent plumber.
Yeah, innocent plumber trying to save the lady. July 9, 1981. So that's pretty cool. That's very old. That might actually be the oldest one on this list.
Interesting.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a long time.
It had to be on arcades too, then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was arcades.
And then they released it on Nintendo. Gotcha.
Yeah. Nights into Dreams. You guys remember Nights? That like jester-looking dude that kind of flew around.
I never played this game, but I remember it.
Yeah. This released on July 5th, 1996. So that one's pretty old. Earthbound. Y'all remember Earthbound?
Love this game.
Nintendo.
I remember this dropping recently on Nintendo Online.
There's Beginnings, which I think is the Nintendo one, and then regular Earthbound, which is technically the second one, is on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of the order of that. So Earthbound, the Super Nintendo one, released on August 27th, 1994. So, yeah, so those are honorable mentions. A lot
big
of those
summer vibes in that game. Big summer vibes, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, those are some pretty old ones, and they didn't have Metacritic scores because they're old games. All right, so then as far as the 20 list, we're going to start at the bottom here. And this is kind of a bummer because, like, obviously this game has progressed very much so and is in a completely different spot than it was.
So this is probably mostly initial reviews.
Yes, of course. So the Metacritic average 61 for No Man's Sky, or as Derek would call it, No Man's Trash. Because Derek,
he doesn't like good games, obviously. Yes,
obviously.
You know that.
This came out on, August 9th, 2016. So still pumping out new content for that game. Although I think the newest release, the newest update might have been the last one. I think they're slowing that down. So,
well, that's probably for the better. I mean, they have been making other games. It's just at a slow rate, and I think they announced 2 titles at the same time.
Yeah,
pretty recently. So that makes sense that they want to shift some resources around.
Yeah, they're a small team, so
very.
Y'all replay or not replayed? Y'all play Recore? Remember that game?
More like Rebore, am I right?
Yeah, more like Re-Snore. Recore, Phil. More like Rebore, Phil.
Well, this Metacritic
I will not make out with you.
Of 63 seems pretty appropriate then.
Yeah, I mean it's a very unmemorable game. So.
Yeah. I think it was one of the first games when I finally got Game Pass. It was one of the first ones I tried because I knew it was only an Xbox game because no other freaking console would release it. Obviously, no, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. It's just like
it's not a bad game. It's totally unmemorable. Like
I don't know how to phrase this. It's not that bad. I just hated every second of it.
I hated playing it. I hated looking at it. I hated thinking about it.
I really didn't like the gameplay. I really didn't. But it's not like. I don't know. It's not like the game I was looking at looked awful or something.
I just felt like when it came out, it came out around this. I felt like around the same time like Knack was coming out, and like everybody was really gravitating towards just like stupid games at the time.
For some reason, and for some reason, Knack.
Yeah, they were.
And like so, like Xbox had this game, and then like Ponies had Knack. And it
which is worse.
And
I don't know.
Then
Dude, they both seem like hell to me. They both seem like hell to me.
And then Knack turned into Sackboy. Which, hey, that's actually good. Okay, whatever. All right.
Little Big Planet came out before Knack did.
Yeah, that was before.
But people love that stuff. Little Big Planet.
Yeah. Record that came out in September of 2016. So yeah, Metacritic average.
That was recent. Yeah, that was like
new. So that's 19 for 18. We got Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. That was a GameCube. That was on GameCube. So that
I didn't own it. Believe it or not, didn't own a GameCube. Actually, you probably do believe it because I tend to own one console per generation.
Okay.
So it was like SNES, then N64, then PS2, And
you were like,
screw
you, Nintendo. I'm gonna go play big boy games.
That's right.
Exactly.
Like God of War, right?
Like Siphon Filter.
I just wanted GTA. When we finally got a PS2, the whole time we were just like,
sure.
And GTA 3, please, thank you, GTA 3.
I didn't get
just
one.
Wanted GTA.
I got one the year that Vice City came out, and I was just like, I cannot believe I'm getting to play this. You know?
Yeah. It felt
a big moment for little Kyle. Yeah. You
know? So that came out in July of '93. Metacritic average of 81. So I know the Mario Golf games are pretty popular, except for that most recent one. So that one apparently didn't do too well.
I thought it reviewed well, but actual like gamers,
it didn't sell
just
well.
Average gamers, we were just like,
I
don't know.
Yeah. So 17, one of you guys' favorite franchises, Splatoon 2. Guys, Splatoon 2.
I literally nodded off just like even saying that name.
I noticed.
Nodded off just like a little bit. Wow.
Plus Snooze 2.
Yeah, well, that came out in July of 2017. Metacritic average of 83. So you guys are wrong. It's a great game.
Well, whatever, dude. I don't know what I don't know what people's problem is with this game, but like I think it's like it's like the only game that was purchased for them, so like I have to love this game. You know? I feel like it's Stockholm syndrome in video game format. You know, it's like blink twice if this game's holding you hostage. I can't fathom, and I know this is really mean to say, but I just can't fathom people liking this game. But whatever, you know.
It's quirky, right? It's quirky.
That was me every time Ubisoft would come out with like a Just Dance game. Like 5 years after that fad ended, and you're like,
this is still happening?
Still playing this, and of course there's like a couple streamers that have thousands of followers that like still play it, but like that's it, a very niche audience that you don't believe exists because it's just not possible. There's just no way.
Last generation, like deep into the last generation, they were still releasing that game on like the Wii. Like that was still coming out on the previous generation.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Like it's insane.
I think they're still coming out, guys. I think they're. I'm pretty sure. I think they are still coming out.
Yeah, they are. So next game, great game, Ghost of Tsushima. That released.
Never heard
that. Well, it's something about samurais. That came out in July of 2020. So
Can I just say, I'll die mad that this is like an 8 to a lot of people.
Yeah, this is stupid. This is a ridiculous
score.
This
is like one of the biggest 10 out of 10 games maybe ever made. Like,
Metacritic average of 83. That's bullshit. Like,
but like even like I gave it an 8. Dude, freaking Easy Allies gave this game an 8, you know, and like it's just everybody gave this game an 8, and I'll never understand because like it did so many things. It wasn't buggy, like I never get.
Like I almost wonder if it was because it was open worlds. They were like, oh well, I mean, it's an open world game. Maybe they shouldn't have made it.
Latching on to like some like frame rate like hitches, but like it was. I played the. It was never worse than like any other game. I don't remember there being frame rate problems.
I don't remember that at all.
No,
but like I remember a lot of reviewers like really it's just like I don't know, the frame rate kind of dips every once in a while. I'm like in every game like what do you mean? Like why are we picking on this game for its frame rate? Like
I don't know.
And it's so beautiful. Man, I'll die mad.
It's gorgeous.
This will be remembered as an 8, you know, like that's its legacy.
Whatever. People are dumb.
Games
definitely by the way, I do definitely think of summer for this one, not just because the summer just happened, but because we were locked inside this summer. It was a 2020 game in July.
I remember, this. Really
so I remember that summer very vividly. It was still very like a lot of people were not doing things around that time.
This was super comfort food.
Yeah, big time. And that made it land even harder because you were just kind of like expecting a fun game, maybe a cool game, and it just ended up being it over delivered big time.
Yeah,
because we were at that point we were expecting bare minimum from entertainment, like. Just give us something, please. And then this one just
really over
harder because of that,
And again, I get
multiplayer too. I mean,
the free multiplayer.
I put a lot of time into that multiplayer.
Yeah.
I was
whatever.
That was always what I was most blown away by. I was like, you didn't even have to nail this. You could have just half-assed this. I would have.
Yeah. They're like, no. This is really good.
This is like a separate game.
I know.
Yeah. Open world samurai game. I mean, how do you not give that like a 9.5 at least?
Guys.
It's a 10 out of 10 game. It's a 10 out of 10.
All right, so that's 16. 15 is Control. That came out in August of 2019. Metacritic average of 85.
See, in my mind, it's a November game. Like, I don't remember playing this game.
Yeah.
That's weird to me. But
Late
one
August.
of my favorite games from last generation.
Yeah, that game is also very pretty. The particle effects when you're just like telekinetically launching things is just so sick. Like,
game has one of the greatest. Like, I just remember walking into really familiar places and just being like, "This place is completely different."
Yeah,
I love that how that game just totally takes you for a mental mindfuck. You know, like,
dude, that whole portion where everything's flipping around, it's playing that like rock song.
Maze,
yes.
The famous, you know, everybody. That's the big scene. That's the big moment. You know, I love that scene. It's so great. Man.
Yeah, it's just visually really cool. Just like it's so wacky how they do that.
Great game.
So that was 15. Number 14, we got Kingdom Hearts.
Never heard of it.
The original Kingdom Hearts. That came out. So 2 games on this list actually came out on my birthday.
So interesting. When did that come out?
September 17th,
September 9th, okay,
2002.
Cool. So I played it the following year. I got it for my birthday.
Okay.
So it is a summer game to me. I didn't play it at launch, but like I remember this being another summer game. Dude, I remember ignoring friends at my birthday party playing this game. Like, don't you want to come out here and blah blah blah? No. Freaking Simba needs my help, dude. Are you kidding? Like, like the first Kingdom Hearts is like one of my favorite gaming experiences of my entire life. Like, I remember having to be sold on it. Like the guy at the game store was like, dude, it's actually a really dark story. Because I'm a teenager. I don't want to do kid games anymore. Yeah, this looks gay. We were allowed to say that back then. I know we can't say that.
We were dumb kids. We said dumb things.
Yeah, I know, but it was, you know, like it was widely accepted in the 90s. We're not proud of it. Anyways,
you are of your time, as Bill said, right?
As Bill said,
you are of your time.
But it was just one of those things where it's like, no, it's about like, you know, he really sold me on like it's about like friendship and, you know, who's there for you in your darkest moments and yada yada. I was like, dude, sold. You know, and I went home and played it.
I remember walking into the game store because I remember seeing like them doing previews in magazines, and I was like, "What's this stuff with Disney? Like, what the?" Because I wasn't into Disney really, not that much, anyways. Like, not enough to buy like a game about it. But then, like, I remember seeing the case in the store, and it was all shiny and silver, or not silver.
Great box art.
Kingdom Hearts 2 had the silver, but like it had that like holographic kind of look.
Yeah.
To it, and
great box art.
And I remember hearing like, oh, there's kind of like a Final Fantasy like sort of like thing going on there, and I was like, oh, all right, I'll give this a chance. And then it was history after that. So.
Another big indicator for me was famously, obviously, Urata Hikaru sings "Simple and Clean" for like the trailer, and in the game, it's like the main scene. You know, she sings "Sanctuary" for the second game. I forget what the name of the third song is, but
I don't remember.
But I was a huge fan of hers because it was a gigantic weeb in middle school, like so uncomfortable. I didn't listen to real music. Oh, that's so mean to say. I didn't listen to like American music. I listened to only like I don't listen to real music. I listen to J-rock and J-pop, which it's true. It is real music. So insensitive for me to say that, but like I was listening to American normal kid, like high school, middle school music. So like when that song was playing on like regular television, because that trailer was widely played on like just every channel. Like they really marketed the hell out of that game. I was like, holy crap! Like the whole world is hearing Utada Hikaru. She's singing in perfect English, and this is amazing. Like I've never. It was a real moment for me, and that was another reason I went to the store and I was like, what's going on with this game? You know, like,
it's so crazy.
Yeah,
it's so crazy where we started and now where we're at with Kingdom Hearts. It's insane. So
that's
completely insane.
The most convoluted story of all time.
Nomura is a nut job.
What kid like understands what's going on? Like I'm a grown ass adult. A lot of them idea what's going on in this series. But it's so crazy. There's YouTube videos of it. But just I don't even think they know off the cuff. They have to watch their own YouTube videos to find themselves.
No, absolutely. So that was 14. 13, Spider-Man on PS4. Spiderman. That came out on September 7th of 2018. Metacritic average of 87. I feel like that should be in the 90s, but that's fine.
That's an 87. Yeah, at least it's close to the 90s, but that's still crazy to me.
What a fantastic game too. What another fantastic open world game. You got Ghost of Tsushima, which is this really cool samurai game, and then you got like the best rendition of Spider-Man, like the video game. Like it's the best Spider-Man video game, period.
It's one of the best open world games ever. It's awesome. It's like it's a perfect game.
But like Spider-Man 2 on PS2 was always like that was the height of Spider-Man games, right? That's what everyone was always referring to as Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Back on that jet, and now it's like, this is like the best one. And then we got Miles Morales also, which I don't think came out in the summer. But...
No, that was
in November.
Game.
Yeah. But
especially because the game happens in Christmas, and that's what makes me associate summer with Spider-Man. Something about, like, I don't know, it just feels like a very summertime period in Manhattan. Maybe it is, and
I think it is, because I think Miles Morales takes place like 3 months later, so that would be right.
So that makes it around Christmas time. Yeah. So like, it just makes me. I get the urge to play it when it's summertime for some reason. I don't know.
And honestly,
earlier this year, it was awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, it literally just swinging around in that game is just like you can just pop it in and just do that.
Some of the best locomotive mechanics maybe ever made. I don't know.
Just going to the tallest building and just like looking around and then just diving off of it is just
and
like
PS5. It's so smooth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do they? What black magic is this that they got this running so smoothly?
It's that the SSD.
That SSD, man. It's really strong.
That SSD. Give it the.
Yeah, you know me.
So at number 12 is actually the remaster of Tony Hawk. Speaking of skating games, is the remaster Tony Hawk 1+2 that came out on September 2020. Metacritic average of 88. So Tony Hawk beating out Spider-Man. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Sure.
That is a little ridiculous. Yeah. That was a really great remake, but that's
absurd. Great music, guys. Great music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Nostalgia for days, except the graphics are like insane.
Yeah. So that's cool that they made those. A shame that they're not going to make the other was it 3 and 4, because apparently they
scrapped. I can't believe, because it sold so well. I can't even believe that it's not even like a thing on the table anymore. It's wild to me.
Number 11, we got Batman Arkham Asylum. Didn't even realize it popped into my head. I was like, let me look it up. I was like, oh, this is an August 2009 game. Metacritic average of 91. Can't believe this came out. So this one. Well, I actually haven't even played the other two. That's actually should have been on my backlog of shame.
It is Arkham now. We got to remember that.
City and Night, I still haven't played.
Man.
But Asylum is fantastic.
I love City so much.
City's so good. Oh my god, yeah.
I started playing it on PlayStation Now, but because it streams to you, I was like, this is laggy.
That game. Yeah, not that game. So, it's too required on frame rate to be streaming that one.
But Asylum's really fun. That's a great metric.
And I'll say Arkham Knight overrated. I think that everyone loves to just dunk on that game, and I'm just like, it's not like my favorite in the series, but Arkham Knight.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's because of the Batmobile, right? I mean, so
the Batmobile. It's the one thing everybody begged for. They got it, and they're like, "Oh, like it." Okay, like it's not my favorite parts of the game, but I love that it's there. Like I think there's a lot of really cool moments that you use it for, but sometimes it overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Batman's pretty cool.
He's okay.
What's even cooler? And Jeff is just a big fan. So actually, I didn't even notice. At number 10 is Final Fantasy X. It's Kismet. It's Kismet.
I got nothing to say about this. I got nothing to say about this game at all.
No, nothing at all.
No, I got nothing.
So July 2001 game. That might be the Japan date. I think that's the Japan date.
Yeah.
Metacritic average of 92. Final Fantasy X is I would say that's my second favorite Final Fantasy. I love 10 so much. That game is unbelievable.
It's in my top 10 favorite games of all time.
It's unbelievable.
This is a summer game to me because my friend really hurt himself, and I was like kind of watching him, like during the day and stuff like that. And this was during the summer, so while his parents went to work, I was just making sure that he didn't die in his sleep or something like that.
Oh. Okay.
And
you're a very nice friend,
he was fine. Someone needed to just be there, and it was just a reason for me to just.
You're a noble friend, Kyle.
I would play games. He would have the strategy guide. We played through this entire game like in 2 weeks. It was one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Just like having like a co-pilot there, and there was no reason to stop because like his existence was healing, my existence was taking care of him, and like that's all we did was just sit there and play that game. And it was July or June, it was one of the summer months, and one of my favorite games ever, dude.
You guys went on a summoner's pilgrimage together.
We did, yeah.
And that's very nice. That's very nice. Yeah, that game.
As you guys know, I have such an educated opinion on this game, so.
Sure.
Let me just get that out of the way.
What's your favorite laugh scene in the series?
This is one of my favorite games.
Okay.
Oh, he's out. He's gone.
Name one character in this game. Name one.
Oh, you got of course there's
is it Final or Fantasy? Is what
I think it's X.
Mr. X, yes. Mr. X. So number 9 is Super Mario Sunshine. Now that is a summer game, right? I mean,
it's so funny because like this has got summer vibes all day, and I figured this is going to be one of the ones that just didn't come out during the summer, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is 1,000% a summer game in both vibes and obviously its release date. So, unpopular opinion, my least favorite 3D Mario game. I don't care about this game at all. So
yeah, that seems to be the case.
I didn't play it, so I'm even better.
I thought a lot of people like this game.
It reviewed well. The Metacritic average is 92.
There's nothing. Nintendo puts out quality games always. Yeah. I didn't like the spray mechanic or whatever. It just
that one. This one seemed to be too quirky for people, right? It was too quirky.
Yeah. I mean, I like World, like the 3D World, like the one where you're running around on like the globes or whatever Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mario with a backpack, watery backpack. So that's cool. Number 8 is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Hey,
that came out.
You're playing that.
I am. September 2017 game. That is averaged at 93. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, I'm only probably 3 hours in, but it's super fun. It's really cool. It's definitely a quality game. Number 7 is Persona 5. Didn't see that coming, but I did. I did see it coming.
That's a quote from the game.
It is, yeah. It's just a song. It's the music. That's a September 2016 game. Metacritic average 93, which that makes sense. Persona 5 is amazing. So
yeah, you get to the summer months really quick in this game, so like it feels like a summer game too.
Yes, yeah.
Of course, you go through the whole calendar year, but just at the top of the game, you get there pretty quick.
And when it comes to anime, always a beach scene. There's always
you gotta go to the beach. Everyone's gotta be in bikinis and stuff.
Yep. Gotta do the beach. I
love my favorite thing about these games is just sexualizing 17-year-olds. That's what it's about.
Right.
And nobody talks about that. Like these games are all about like these kids banging each other, and like it's weird that we're all just like, keep on putting them in. It's weird.
Hey,
we're all playing it. It doesn't matter.
Hold on. So technically,
we're together.
Technically, that first I can't remember the term that they use in the game, but like the dungeon is about that gym teacher who's
it is. They actually
abusing.
Address some pretty
I did play that part.
Yeah. So that's pretty dark,
complicated stuff. And they handle it well too. I say, like a lot of people come out empowered, and a lot of people get what they deserve, and like it's just it's good. They turn something really heavy into something that like feels really resolved and feels good. So.
Yeah, it's a really good intro to what that game is for sure.
Yeah, because things get dark in that game.
Yeah, definitely. Number 6, Devil May Cry. That was an August 2001 game. Metacritic average 94.
I remember playing this game in August because like we were all going back to school, and I went over to my friend's house right after school had just started, and we popped this game in, and I was just like, and this is way before I had a PS2, and I was like, I gotta get me one of these, like I absolutely love that game.
Completely crazy that this was spun out from, I think, what they originally they were working on as RE4, Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
So it might not have existed if they decided to, change lanes and kind of shift to what 4 ended up being for Resident Evil 4. So
that's why Leon and Dante has the same haircut, right? No, it's not. That's like a total made-up factoid.
Nope, that's totally real. That makes sense. That's lore. That's the real lore. What a great series. I love the series. It's so wacky and just weird and goofy, and
one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Number 5, Jet Set Radio. This was a late June 2000 game.
Going out on your inline skates, graffitiing stuff like we all do, big time.
Like we all do. I never actually played this game, but I know a lot of people do like it.
One of the best soundtracks in game ever. Like ever. One of the greatest soundtracks ever.
Averaged at 94, so that's surprising.
It's good stuff. It was packaged.
Surprised I haven't heard of it until now, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
It was packaged in with Xboxes for the longest time, so it got a lot of exposure to a lot of people.
Dreamcast too, right? Wasn't it on Dreamcast?
It was originally on Dreamcast, yeah.
Okay.
I just remember like you got this and like Sega GT motor like packaged in together, on the original Xbox, and got a lot of exposure. You know, people, it's a fan favorite for sure.
Yeah. All right, number 4. We're swinging back to Jeff's favorite, Final Fantasy IX.
Who's your favorite character in this game, Jeff?
Oh, of course you got Charleston.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Charleston McKiggles is my favorite.
McKiggles.
That's actually pretty Final Fantasy. Yeah.
McKiggles. I wouldn't say that, but sure.
McKiggles. Yeah, you know the McKiggles.
Let me
you
go
know
with
the
an
McKiggles
actual,
plan.
off the top of my head, Final Fantasy name. Not a real one, but like a fake one that sounds like it would be in the game. Jet, with 2 T's.
You already lost me.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's.
Hold on. Sard.
Don't say sardine. I swear to God.
Jet Rider.
Sorry. Sardson.
With a Y. R-Y-D-E-R.
That doesn't make sense. Sardson's not good. That's too white.
All right.
Jet, though.
Jet Rider.
Jet Rider, yeah.
R-Y-D-E-R.
So, 9 came out in July of 2000. Metacritic average 94. What an excellent I think swan song for Sakaguchi, or was he on 10? Did he do 10?
What?
I can't.
What?
This might have been so the father of Final Fantasy.
Oh God.
Don't Sakaguchi, guys. Not unless you consent.
And it was on the tail end of the PS1 Final Fantasy. So
terrible.
It was
That's a terrible joke. I'm sorry. That was very.
I didn't even hear the joke. So it's fine.
I can't unhear it.
But Final Fantasy IX went back to the medieval fantasy style of the classic Final Fantasy. So it was like a nice sort of like, bookend to the PS1 Final Fantasy.
I just remember it having Vivi and a kid with a rat tail. That's the big things that I remember about that game.
Zidane. Yep. The main
sure,
character.
That one. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Vivi is like
best boy.
Chili.
I know.
That's
everything I remember about the game is everybody likes that character. That's.
I mean, Vivi is adorable, and
sure, yeah, that's one I need to go back and play because I don't remember anything about that.
Oh,
game.
You don't, Kyle? Yeah, you need to. Yeah.
0 things about that game.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember the Carmen brothers, obviously. The Carmen brothers. You got
Nope.
Troy and
Carmen. That sounds right. No,
Bax.
I mean Carmen. Sure, that
Bax,
could work.
of course. They got the neighbor. Jenna Flynn. Then you got
Jenna Flynn.
Biggs and Wedge. Oh,
You just mixed two. You literally just come smush 2 names together. Jenna and Flynn.
Jenna Flynn.
I don't appreciate all this nonsense during Final Fantasy IX. How dare you? All right, so let's swing to number 3, Metal Gear Solid.
It's wrongly placed.
Wrongly placed.
Yeah,
okay,
Metacritic average 100. I think it's supposed to say.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely, it absolutely should. But it's
I've said this a lot of times on this list. This is a 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This came out September '98.
The summer game for me as well. I just remember we didn't play it that first year. I just remember it being the summertime, being over at my friend's house and him being like, dude, check this game out. And I just was blown away. And the only way I could go home and play it, because I did own a PS1, was he lent me the demo disc of like the first area, and I must have played that hundreds of times before I actually got my hands on a copy of the game.
That's similar to me. I had that demo, and I think I forget if did it end at
right when you went into the vents. Yeah, I think you saw the decoy activist scene, and then it would end. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It must. Yeah, I think it probably was PlayStation Underground. That was my first exposure to the game, but technically, Metal Gear Solid 2 was my first like full Metal Gear experience.
Interesting. How would that feel going to that game? Not knowing
it was bonkers.
You're like, why is this guy's arm talking?
Liquid.
That seems weird.
He's just yelling liquid. I'm like, what's happening?
I bet the Snake to Raiden transition was easier on you though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, this seems proper. Everyone else was like, what is happening?
And then you get to the end and he's like doing cartwheels naked. It's fine. It's completely fine. He's just doing.
He was my favorite in the whole series. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I think that game is so incredibly smart.
Oh yeah.
And I think it foreshadows a lot about how the government works now. Not that like they're building Metal Gears and stuff like that, but just like the flow. That game is all about controlling the flow of information and twisting truths and making up things that are more believable than they are truthful, because like it's easier to feed the masses lies and and like that's all media is now. And it's like it was so forward thinking, and Kojima's an absolute genius, and I think he was amazing. But yeah, one's great too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, one.
I forgot we were talking about
such
one.
a great.
I'm making a monologue.
I was
two,
hooked,
and that's
man.
That's not the one on the fucking list.
I was sold.
Well, I mean, it had to start somewhere, and it started with the first one. I mean, that game was a PlayStation 1 game, fully VO'd with just like the cinematic cutscene. Like it was like, is this a movie or yeah? It was just insane, completely insane, and what a Kojima is a madman, but he's also a genius. Number 2, Super Mario 64. This was a late June 96
summer
game.
AF
Is that
game.
when the was this a launch game?
It's a launch title.
Yeah.
So the 64 launched in June?
I think it was just the one game, wasn't it? Or was there 2? I know it was
I think it was a really low. Yeah, I really don't know. But I don't remember it launching in June. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. 94 average. I mean, yeah, makes sense.
It's like one of the greatest
in
games.
Japan. That's the Japan date.
Okay.
I do not go back and play this game because I think it just doesn't age very well. But like, it is the pioneer of like third person camera
and analog stick. Like
it is like cemented in the pantheon of gaming history for just the being so innovative and like creating how we play third person games like to this day. Yep. So cool for it. Good job.
Yeah,
good job.
I mean, they nailed it They nailed it pretty good out of the park on the first go with 3D Mario. So
yeah,
for sure. And then at the very tippy top here, with a Metacritic average of 96, we got GTA 5.
Yeah, this game's good. All right, good job, guys.
Came out on my birthday also.
All right.
Came out on my birthday.
See you later.
Came out on my birthday also.
Did it really? Yeah. That's amazing.
What a birthday, dude.
Yeah, I'll say.
What a weird, like, why is your birthday picked for so many game releases?
I don't know.
I don't know what I can say about Grand Theft Auto 5 that we haven't already said, but I think this is like one of the greatest.
It's the best GTA. I mean.
Absolutely. And it's just like a super ambitious, like, even to this day, it's like, wow, this like world is really alive and vibrant and things to do. And
you could swap between 3 characters like super quick. Like, what? Like, this is insane. Like, and they're doing different things. Like they'll be in different parts of the map, and it's like it just zooms down, and then like what's his face is just beating the shit out of somebody. Like
or you switch to Trevor, and he's already got a wanted level, and he's on the run from cops or something, and you're like, what the hell? Yeah. Let me switch back.
If you had to have a most popular game of all time, I'm glad it's this. You know what I mean? Like it's something like this because even outside of this summer list and stuff like that, I mean, this is a game that still sells like buku. Yeah. Like to this day, it's got a 96. I mean, like whatever. Like not many things can have that. How many people agree on singular things like this so often? Like never. Right. You know, like it's one of those like constances out there, and I have a few friends that like, well, I think Grand Theft Auto is kind of like overrated and stupid. I'm like, okay, whatever. The whole world's enjoying playing it. You can definitely be your curmudgeon about it, but like,
absolutely,
the whole world's really enjoying it, and I know everyone's holding their breath for Grand Theft Auto 6, and like, I don't care. Like, they could tomorrow, you could learn that Rockstar we've been kicking puppies every day for the last 20 years, and like everybody is still gonna buy Grand Theft Auto 6.
Sure,
like, that's how much like they've impacted like the industry in terms of like just good fortune. I don't even think this like Grand Theft Auto like trilogy stuff debacle, like I don't think it kills their name at all. Like Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, the greatest selling game of all time. There
was crunch stuff going on there. People, were complaining about that, and I think was there sexual harassment stuff at Rockstar?
I don't think so, but I thought that they were talking about that it was harder for like women to move up. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember hearing stuff.
I couldn't remember if there was that also or just the crunch.
Oh, and one of the Hauser brothers left because of all this nonsense. So good job, everybody. Yeah, y'all awesome. Good job on just being like cool, really chill fans. Y'all are awesome.
Super chill.
We lost another one, guys. After we lost the BioWare doctors from the same like online like just backlash bullshit. Like it's just how many more people are we gonna run away from the industry before nobodies are left? Just a bunch of nobodies.
Well, another bit from the Bill Burr Special, by the way. We're going after dead people now. Like, I don't like that thing that guy, John Wayne, that died 40-something years ago.
Yeah, in a magazine that doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist anymore, yeah. Oh, everybody has a stick up their butt. Remove the stick from your butt and then continue living your life.
You know how easy it is to walk around without a stick in your butt? It's
so easy.
Easy, man.
So easy.
I got to take lessons from you guys sometime, man. I don't know how to get it out.
I'll send you.
We're talking about actual sticks, right? Not a metaphor.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
It's the one that puppets us, right?
Yep. I'll send you some documentation, Jeff. I'll send you some documentation.
Some diagrams.
Some schematics.
Some schematics. Yeah, there we go. That's my other word.
Schematics.
All right. Well, speaking of, not speaking of, we're done. Everything's over.
We're done. Okay, bye.
We talked all the words.
This is the end.
On the thing where you hear us, follow us there.
Yeah, follow us at the stuff.
But don't comment. Don't drop a comment. We don't like.
Can you like? Can you subscribe? Can you not comment ever? Thank you.
No,
no,
absolutely.
Please comment. Yeah, please comment.
I did start streaming. So Dapper_Chocobo on Twitch. I stream some stuff. So come say hello. And if you don't say hello, hey, you.
Don't be a weird lurker. Yeah, interact.
Don't be a weird. Yeah, don't lurk.
I see so you in here. Say something. Say hi.
I saved that just profound F-bomb at the very end for Tim. He won't find it. He won't find it. All right. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Daniel, for being here, especially.
Thank you, Daniel.
And everyone have a good night. Yep. And make sure to drink a bottle of
I hope your ass rash clears up, Tim.
In case you're thirsty, have a bottle of water. God damn it. All right, Jeff, anything?